sing along with the policy has not even got to the point. So when you have all this and keep it, in fact, I was taught many years ago in university, like the better tells what? Cover in the bush. The hand is the only bed. The other one is the one that's your own. The one that's your own. What you are holding is your own. So grab the special seat. If it's 5 women, grab it and hold it. Because in the National Assembly, that's we have Ghana, we have 200 seats in our staffing. We have 200 in our National Assembly. We have 4. That's 7. 7. Okay, minus 1 or 1. It's 40 depends on So when you are doing gra in Ghana, you slow. So take it slowly. That's the challenge of violence against women in our governance space. Of course, that impact on even the. Look at the statement. When I decided to run for district assembly, some men in my community began to spread rumor about my morality. And I'm not threatening my children. I had to choose between protect my family and children campaign. Cross-cutting in the region. And I told them about disinformation yesterday, what we call gender disinformation. Targeted. Your mama will go for the would die. You know those kind of thing? When you treat your man, there's always that flip as I to children if you don't go. But you can't them with them put a family first. And that is a leadership thing I've seen, and I've talked about it elsewhere. And there is a leadership skill that is missing in Africa. It is called empathy skill. Only women has it. Yes. Empathy. They didn't teach us this. Empathy. Check during COVID. Countries led by women had more resilience to deal with COVID. Not even the United States that was led by a man. Countries, Finland, Sweden, were more, they had that feeling of protecting their people. More. That's empathy. What we need in Africa, particularly in Nigeria, because I said, I'm in Nigeria, because that's where the worst case is, because we don't want them. So, bring empathy to the discussion and limited in the Nigerian system. So you need that empathy skill. And for me, it is more around women. Women does have that skill more because you all know mothers feel for their children. In terms of war, when men like us, not chairman, we know wrong, but me, most men will first of all discharge. Before say, I get wife and children. But the mother will not discharge. They will carry the wife and children alone. My mother told me this during the Nigerian Civil War. That their own father had discharged to take cover. But their mother will give them 2 things. All right. If you want to know the difference between a male chicken and a female chicken, check when it is raining. Alas! I'm not effective at all. That's the situation. I've seen that again and again. They are effective. We not have been here from effective wouldn't happen. Yes, if it was effective, we would be giving years of accents. So how do we strengthen this law to be more effective? And the one that are weak, how do we bring them on board? So there are policy limitation challenges. Even Ghana said, right, the policies are there. It is clear. If you ask Said Ghana, the president can come on. He will list all in an international conference or come home. If you ask Nigeria president, like now, just a few days ago, our Nigerian president, corruption has died in Nigeria. It's no more. We are problem. The international community, our president said, corruption is here. The people were clapping. You list all of those things that so I've been privileged to attend during the Southern Nigeria, CSW, 2012 CSW. Okay, fine. But Nigeria own, asked me what happened. Let's move on. Okay, extension worker said, A young woman reported sexual assault. And the officer asked, talking about police station, what was she wearing? We said that, what was she wearing? So they came and said, how can you wear this one? Nothing meant for smart. Any sexual harassment has nothing to do with the way the person is dressed. After all, you get tax. And that thing is that thing is showing out. What do you get them? Africa would have been flipped them. If there's a correlation between dress mode and rape, there are a number of data that have shown that Jasper Initiative used to do a lot of work around that thing many years ago. So the economic party, one female kinsman noted. Yes, actually an extra percent of the number national budget committed to addressing violence in Nigeria, but it is not publicly available. Nkechi was saying that yesterday. The truth of the matter is that even if you use women affairs department as a yardstick, it will be so limited because women affairs does not do only women violence against women issue. They also pay salary from that money. More than that, the politicians have their own court. That's why you understand that one.
Before the budget will even see the light of us.
So what is the economic impact? I've said that time and again. Look at the comment. They have no dedicated line in national budget to quantify GBV cost. It's a bit difficult. Only laws can actually deal with it. For instance, before I went to school, and we had a series of sessions on helping students to upgrade skills. That if you mistakenly go to schools in America, for instance, and the guy tells you, let's go to the room, and you have agreed. And at some point, the thing is already close to. Even if it's already in, as many know.
No means
No is what?
means no.
In Africa, what does no mean?
Stop it, I like it.
If you stop, it's a problem. So, and if you continue, you'll not be behind bar quietly. And if never people come to you and said, "Hi, please turn around." Turn around means you turn around and put your hand behind. And that's basic. School is over. So if those laws exist and people recognize those kind of things, violence against women will drop. But yeah, you have those laws existing, but implementation is a challenge. Violence against women does truly impact the economic impact of countries. As going to store, I mentioned this yesterday, from weeks after my husband me, my goods spoiled, and I lose my main customers. Violence against women. So that woman, she recover. Increase, and that's why we said to recover. Those who fall within the poverty circle in Sub-Saharan Africa are majorly women. From a number of factors anyway, but GBV has a contributing factor. Another person said violence limits women's ability to participate actively in workforce. Someone who has been discriminated at home is the best to work and when you realize how someone who, as a comrade was saying yesterday, you put a stick and that person goes to work, how would she go to work? In the first place, how would she sit down? In the first place, because as she's working, in an examination hall, I don't know many of us here, don't say, just raise your hand in your mind. How many of us have been in an exam hall where you want to spell IT? You're asking the person close to you, let me spell IT. Let me spell IT. Unconsciously, you are telling, but you are not younger than you. That's a condition that most people face in the workforce or gone through violence again. That have had gender-based violence or any kind of violence that limits capacity. Like in Nigeria and Ghana, the loss of productivity due to absence from work as a result of violence. Productivity drops. That man's case is clear that I lost my goods. I lost. In Sierra Leone, these cases, although there's a policy where it's a policy program where after you are giving birth, you can still return back to school. And in your family, you can bring goods from the farm to substitute no school fees. Policy is nice, but should it even happen at all? Someone in school, there's a law that you cannot touch anybody less than 18. Yeah, but you are pregnant. Melo mentioned that yesterday. 13, 14. In law, excuse is, I don't know what. I can't remember what that is. It's not an excuse. Those of us who wear black suits, not mean we are lawyers. It's generational effect. Most homes, Pastor, we were discussing yesterday, Chizoba and Tibor said, how most crime or there are things around you can just go like this, there's something go away. Broken homes. Homes that are experienced gender-based violence have more level of division that divides community eventually. Those who are involved with drugs, most women who take drugs, if you take their route backward, they are linked to broken homes or violent homes. You can do that study. That's not our own study. But in any case, it correlates. It correlates. You can even just asking somebody on the street to say, "What are you married?" You will say yes, but okay, you have children. Say yes. Where's your man? Oh, man, now. There's always a case connected to gender-based violence. Social cultural effect. This is huge, and we have talked about that again and again. And I'm happy that my sister said she learned. This is not a workshop, but I'm happy you got it. Men also, yes, yeah, men. Even in this meeting now, sometimes my baby will just shout to me. It's violence. Can she not use that one as violence? So this morning, you put that now. I think it's easy now. Okay, call that. Okay. How will I
Bring your evidence.
Respect that. But we believe first.
Thank you, man. So, we see women coming with injuries, but also with silent wound, nightmare, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts. Many women who feel have been abused are only surviving because nothing of their children. What's in that? I can't leave my children. And because of that, and I told you just now, during the Nigerian Civil War, most men discharged while the women hung on to protect their kids. Those suicidal thoughts, it is largely because how will my children feel? And above all, just so you know, and just so you know importantly, if you check record of suicidal action, most men actually commit suicide. You can go and find out. I don't have data, but record that are coming, the man hung himself. This one. That one wrote and said he was tired. He doesn't know how to take care of his wife, so you died.
Right.
Because you don't know how to take care of your wife. So what implication does that mean for the woman? That one should die. So you didn't think about your kids. You took your own life. That man, I told them to bring the man down and flog him. It's not like that.
You know,
Eventually, but people would see that he's not flawed. I'm just thinking about wow. So you consider that you are not going to take care of. You brought them into more challenge. A woman won't do that. They won't think of the man, they will think of the one that needed care. And those who needed care more, and why? Because again, Chairman sir, I don't know. I don't know. I was 9 months pregnant, you went through some. Because it doesn't have experience. And maybe that's why a man can just go like that. For a woman, knowing that, so, we are experiencing the one that, come on, come on, it's just here. That's the only one we experience. Think, they can do anyhow sometimes. We don't do that. We're not, sir. This is good. Well, you can only imagine. He can. And what of the children, they are funny, don't know. Can click not on the 15th. The teacher said, remark, no, like Ghana. One of my scientist students got pregnant. after being accosted or accused, on our way home, on our way to school, she never returned to class. And now she's married to the one who committed the crime. Now to you, if a 17-year-old slept with a 14-year-old, the mother again, that was the experience she told. The mother again will come and beg. But the law is not respect of persons. But in African law, respect persons, respect culture, respect tradition, so that you don't divide the people. About it. In mental health, there was funny thing that came. Violence against women just impact on mental women. They tend to transfer that because the women are the ones that can. Imagine that last number having to face mental health concern. Look at what the health expert said. He said, if we care about the next generation, we must address violence in the home. The reason why Africa is having this, of course, everybody challenge in West Africa. President wants to mistakenly enter power, they don't leave. Maybe most presidents, we have to be finding where they came from. Violence, they may have violence at home. For instance, there are some presidents, you can't trace them to their mother or father. And some people know, there's some point here now, if I ask you now, who will be your president, papa and mama? They'll put another person. Some persons from Nigeria may have had this experience. If you trace them back, they may have. If you want to take care of the next generation, West Africa, and that's why I'm seeing that someone like Peter Lepeni is here, who speaks around the world. Bring this up. Because that's why when the places we don't get to, and then we get to it and speak about it. Honorable, we get to it and speak about it. The media, we get to it and speak about it. That this is real. If we must address the next generation and think of the next generation, we must address violence at home and, of course, that there's an health crisis that is measured on a daily basis due to violence against women and girls. Or, lastly, you can call it GBV, so that we don't. So, of course, and I like this. He said, the lack of regulation or ineffective implementation of those things leave many women vulnerable. In Sierra Leone, they eventually came up with a policy to protect women in workplaces. But in Nigeria, we now have what they call paternity leave. I think you have paternity leave here. Okay, you have to learn that one. I learn something from Nigeria. We have paternity leave. So when the question is, most men who have like 2 wives, 3 wives, it's only one.
So we did advocate for that white word in the Gender Act, but they said some men have 2 or 3 wives. So the paternity leave will be going on and on and on. So they keep against parliament.
Another challenge. In an attempt to solve one problem, you may actually generate another problem. Policy is supposed to deal with issue and not to create another issue. And that is why subsidies created more challenge in an attempt to solve the challenge. So, believe me, if we can deal with cultural and religious norms, half of the problems are solved. Now, please, men often resort to violence against women to assist country with violence today. Social roles. These are statements, these are quoted statements from the survey. And it's based on this quoted statement, we came out with all of our recommendation, and I've got like less than 4 minutes. I'm just putting this recommendation chat, which we about really. First, we say, so policy recommendation, we must try to understand the impact of Vawg or violence against women. So, full laws. So, how is it doing? Can we have, that's why I like Nigerian decree on reserve CPA. It has a sunset clause that after this period, like in Nigeria, after 16 years, you come back and review the law. So when should we be reviewing laws? So that because there are emerging issues, you solve this, another issue comes again. So at what point do we need to review? We don't have to not pass law that those are normally quote with sometimes when I hear people quote in 1962, and not passed, and you are still saying the law today. Even in academics, if you are quoting a research that is more than 10 years, they will ask you, so you mean since that time no research is worked? Because every day reports are coming out. We need to train our law enforcement and the judiciary. But the judiciary will tell you, you can't just like politicians. You have to say, you want to be that politician, we bring some women together to try to fill capacity. And I told them, you can build with more. Children that won election, how do you build this capacity? So what do? You change the language, and I very simple. Let's call it meet and greet. So we call women together and we call it let's meet and greet. From there, in order to meet and greet, you introduce other concepts in. So you must change the word from just training, because how can you go to the teacher and say, I want to train you? Who are you? But again, that's what we meant. Train them. The young women is supporting the Syrian police and of course the army. Interestingly, what came out from that training support from the women and security in Syria alone is that there was an all-women recruitment only into the armed forces and the police. Yeah. All women only. Then women women. So there was no men in the country to push the government winning in armed forces. Just strategic preparation. So many of us is how can I be? The government is slow, only strategy. Should not be considered too busy. It should be considered a special measure. Anyhow, I told you yesterday that the Nigerian Chapter 14 in the Constitution is a special measure. After all, it's also too pleasing. Why don't all of us go to the same whatever. Nigeria, again, using that too pleasing issue or the special measure, there's what we call unity schools. In that unity school, everybody in the country goes for the same exam. Everybody pass the same exam. But in order for certain category, which is Muslim, tribal, ethnic coalition, they needed to drop some score. So, for instance, those score or students who come from states like Abia, Anambra, in South, the cutoff mark is like from year to heaven. At least 180, 200, 250. But in 6 states in the north, let's at the state. And so that not honorable side. Let me remove them first. The cutoff mark can be at 12, 15. So the same classroom, let somebody who has scored 250. You put that same person with somebody who scored 12.
Not 12. No, now.
That's
100.
100.
Saying that is 100.
No.
Oh, 100.
It's not 100.
100.
No, not 200. It's not.
Yeah, not sure. Give me the score. Maybe
Like 250, maybe it's 220.
no.
No.
Because that one I know was 80.
But yeah, so what?
No, that's one I know was 80.
Now, we can show the real life example. He said she wrote with somebody.
I went to unity school.
Yes.
I went to federal girls. So in my insert, it was 200 total mark.
I'm not talking.
And my set for localers, it was 20.
So this is what to speak.
Sometimes attempted. Some states don't even have
20. The number will not come. And for temples to need to bring that number. Polytechnism. See.
No, but the same thing was done for my daughter and my son. Because in Eastern Nigeria, they are looking for boys to go to school.
Yes.
My daughter scored higher, but they decided to bring the mark down for my son. And my daughter who scored higher was not admitted, but my son was admitted. I had to take them off. I said,
That is affirmative action. It's a deliberate attempt to bring a number that is low up I said, that's the idea.
No boys and no girls in there. No.
But
Yes.
so leads to discrimination.
Because of
Because
dreams.
that is the real space. If you want to be looking at some of this data and all that,
Yes.
we need to look at the root cause of some of these issues. Why would you the real reason why people in the north, for example, are not going to school, it's not my fault. Somebody from the south. So why should I be discriminated against as a result of that?
Fantastic. That's the same thing with reserve seat B. Oh, that's what I'm saying. Don't listen. Affirmative action. So in Ivy League schools in the US, the black folks hardly able to get in. So when you talk about affirmative action, people don't think that reducing scores for admission is affirmative action. Deliberate. Sure.
No, but you know what? In terms of
This one is not my scores.
Is your turn.
Yes.
total different of
Okay.
it's not about whether you're white or whether you're black or what.
Yes.
What the people do, most of them, the children are getting right. It's not even the fact that they qualify.
Yes.
It's the fact that their parents have a trust with the IEs.
Yes.
So whether you know book, you don't know book, and about buy trust, they give trust to you, they will give you admission. Not my family.
Okay. So more of those people are those who are, will I call them white, because I don't like to use the word white.
There are even black people.
And it's limited.
Then more.
It's limited. And that is why there's an affirmative action deliberately to say we cannot have all the white folks in the room. You must bring the black in. So even when they don't buy trust, they still come to the room.
Some scholarships now.
So the diversity is not affirmative.
But it's not that is diversity. No, if you consider something so any language you want to use, call it reserve seat bill, call it state bill, call it affirmative action bill, it's a special measure. Sorry.
Trying to bring balance.
Huh?
We are this.
If you call it tokenism, if you like. And what I told Ejiro, she asked me to write a piece for a new book. And I said, call it tokenism. For me, it's special measure. Sorry. Special measure. Yeah, to bring in this room, we could have been 500 people. So why are we this low? Because we don't want to be speaking English too much. Bring expert to the table. And it's a special measure. I thank you very much.
Well done.
Just to quickly state that this report will be shared, but it's still at a validation level. All right.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Austin. And thank you to all the research team. I know that the lead researchers are all here. I just wanted to find out, do you reach out to the police to get their own things? I say this because 1st January this year, 2025, I went somewhere and I met, a man beating his wife right there in my presence. So I got the man arrested. And I was preparing for an event. I left what I was doing, got the man arrested, took him to the police station in my village. And I went to the DPO. I thought the DPO was going to handle the matter. The next thing said, you women, let to respect.
The men.
Your husband. You see, he is the man. I looked at the man. I said, I brought this test to you, right? He said, yes. So what are you doing? He said, we have to advise women. And I told him, I said, look, I came here and I reported a case of assault. He said, yes. Treat this case as an assault case. Next time, if I come to you to give advice, you can advise the woman. But you see, lack of training. They don't even understand when there is violence and when it should be treated as one. Because it's a woman, and so it's agreed, it's accepted that women, they run their mouth, they insult men. So that's not the issue. The issue is firsthand, as someone that witnessed it, as someone that arrested the man, you should treat it as violence and not to give advice on how to be a good wife, without also advising the man on how to be a good husband.
We went for after this for panel.
Yes, you have
Okay, you can enter second.
Yes. On the policy issue, they've actually trained them, but it seems that the concentration is in the cities because they have gender desks at the state headquarters. But as now what we've also spoken to them on why they need to have the same desk at every police division because that's where the cases even go. Most times before it comes to command, probably there's an influential person that insists that the case comes in the state capital. But this happens mostly in the
That is why in our recommendation we said train law enforcement agencies. We have recognized actually there was a case where I think it was Ghana case, Ghana report. Specifically, the police where we spoke to the police. But importantly, it's never enough. Ghana report. Specifically, the police where we spoke to the police. But importantly, it's never enough. Because when you train one now, they move him out.
Exactly.
So those challenges exist.
General-
Sierra Leone, I was privileged at that time when an advocacy led to setting up gender unit down. But how it is now, I don't know. Thank you again and thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm quite happy that we enjoyed our conversation. We enjoyed the session. Yeah, if you look at the agenda, there's a particular session where we have comments and few questions and answers as well. And I really want to thank you all for your participation. So right now we will be calling up the next panel. If you go through our agenda, we'll see that we are going to be having an interesting conversation on strategy and advocacy. And to have to lead this session, moderator for this session, we are having, once again, I will try not to murder the name. We have Benju Masokoi moderating this session, to program specialist with UN Women here in Sierra Leone. Thank you for recognizing her. So she will be calling up her panelists and also release them shortly. Thank you very much.
So good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Right. So today's discussion, we'll be looking at how we can sharpen our strategies and strengthen our advocacy messages to advance women's rights across our countries. And we'll bring together panelists with diverse expertise from policy reform and engagement, mobilization, gender experts, and I'm excited to dive into the conversation. So on that note, I'd like to call Ine Ovi to join me. Let's give her a round of applause. She
Oh, but you try.
And I'd like to call someone who wasn't here yesterday. In fact, she was, when the minister came yesterday, she was, I should have come with her. I'd like to call someone who is a gender expert in Sierra Leone. And one thing I love about her, if she hears about something, if you invite her, you won't invite her, as long as it's about women's rights, you will take her. She was a former gender advisor to the president, Madam Nasu Fofana. So we have a powerful panel. A very powerful panel, and we have 40 minutes, and I have a very powerful panel, and we have 40 minutes, and I have so many, we have so many things that we want, issues we want to talk about and discuss.
So you don't want to ask you.
My first question will go, will focus on strategies and policy implementation. And it will go to Obi. And I will ask, what are the most effective strategies you've seen for turning women's rights legislation into real change?
This is serious. Good morning again, Madam President and our moderator, very distinguished sisters and brothers here. Some of the things, and I'm really, really excited to be working on this journey with Nkechi, who is here, and then, because one of the things that for a leader, I always look at the qualities of a leader is in replicating leaders. How many people have you been able to replicate? Building the women agency is one of the core for me. And I was thinking when I woke up this morning, I said I was going to ask Iberi if there was time to talk women to women. Some minutes, I always do that when I run a program and a higher percentage is women, because there are certain things that we look at and we knock it off. When they say women are not the enemy of women, then you walk through with it with that ideology, you miss the point. We must admire, we must look at what is it exactly when they say women are against women, or women are the ones who are pulling women down. And you don't understand it, you say it's not true because you are not pulling another woman down. It doesn't mean that other women are not pulling people down. But again, I will say that in yourself, because to be a change agent, you must have a mirror for yourself. And if you do that, you'll be able to look at your own journey. What have I done so far on the journey? Because I believe in human rights-based approach to everything. Are you one of those who pull women up? How do you teach other people? How do you expose your leadership methods to other people? So I believe in building the women agency, and I've had the opportunity, in educating women across board, looking at their issues. And I take you down to when I contested for the presidency of a students' union government many, many years ago. One of the guys told me, he said, women will not even vote for you. He asked me to go and collect the form for vice president. Women will not vote for you, and men will vote for me. So when will you get your vote? He even told me further, an opponent would have researched on certain things. He told me further, he said, researchers have shown that women don't vote for women. So where are you going to go? I went back and I thought about it. I sat. The following day, that evening, I put on my micro. I had one big radio in school. So I put up the FM microphone. And to the hostel, I said, this is what I've been told, that women don't like women. Is this true? Since the beginning of this institution, no woman as a president. We make it ourselves that much. I believe I can make a difference. Are you willing to join me? And I started it from there. It started making sense because people need to be conscientized. So sensitization and conscientization for you to even know who you are. It's so important because you need to click. I'm a social justice preacher. And I feel that, like Nelson Mandela said, he said, those who hate with intensity can also love with the same intensity if they are reoriented or sensitized. And so we have a lot of discussion with women themselves to be change agents. And I think the one strategy is to start it with the self-realization of who we are and having to build women agency. I often tell people that if I find somebody, a lady on the bed with my husband, you can never, because of that, then I will start quarreling with the woman. Why should I face the woman? You can't bring me down to that level. If you think I'm not worth it and that's your level, you go to that level. That's your own bane. Of course, it's complicated. but I can never fight another woman because of the man. I just want to bring us down to this because in organizing women, and so when you bring a group of women together, it relies on networking. But in that networking, you need serious sensitization and conscientization of the women-led organizations. An example, sorry, before you move on, an example is that we worked with about 189 women-led organizations, when I was country director of Action Aid, within the space of 4 years. But altogether, I would say that I worked with about 263 organizations and another 95 organizations, and I was able to bring people together. But you have to sensitize people. Don't take it for granted that every woman is conscientized. So one of the strategies is knowing ourselves and making sure that we have capacity building. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Chizoba, what barriers do you see in implementation of our policies and strategies, and how do you think we can overcome them?
Okay, I think part of the discussions we had yesterday brought up those issues. Even what Mr. Austin did today, the cultural, our norms and practices is something that has been imbued in us. The men culturally assigned roles, the men believe they should be dominant, and the women are expected, sometimes we even go biblical, to say, be submissive to your husband. It translates to being submissive to every man, whether your husband or otherwise. So you find that, like in our country, where most of the lawmakers and policy framers are mostly men, you find out that it influences their way of thinking and reasoning, and it reflects in not just in the policy, in the implementation, but that's where the problem lies. We have a lot of policies, protocols, laws, but it's the implementation that is our setback, because the implementers are mostly men who have that orientation that the woman, at some point, they will say, woman is not even supposed to be seen. Hence, a woman that is forthcoming is seen as a deviant as it is. So, how do we change it? Like Antiene said, it's about changing the orientation and making them understand the cost of not having women with us, the cost of not having women in governance, what we are losing for not having women participate fully in governance and policy making. Because, like they say, he that wears the shoe this time knows where it pinches. A woman understands a woman's problem more, and will also bring, if women are good homemakers, let's even take it, since they say we belong to the home, and most women manage the home effectively. You should also follow that if they come to governance, they will bring that know-how, their knowledge of managing resources and everything. We know that, yes, when it comes to corruption, the men are usually more there. You could say probably because they are more into governance. But the women who have held positions of authority give a good account of themselves. And if the men understand that, yes, more women will bring change, it's about reorientating them to understand that we need to have more women, and that the cultural and religious practices that we have changes, because change is the most constant thing in life. And sometimes they are taken out of context. Because if the Bible says be submissive to your husband, it does not also say that you cannot reason with your husband on issues. It means that you can share and you can take it out, since we are now focusing on that. But it does not apply to policy making and governance.
Thank you. Thank you. Over to you, Nancy. And can you share a specific example where advocacy led to policy reform or enforcement in your work, either as civil society or government?
Thank you very much, Benju, and thank you to the organizers for inviting me. Like she said, I'll show up if I know. And if I know after the event, then I'll go for the person who didn't invite me. But I will come because this is how we need to move forward. I think before I answer that, let me just say positioning is very important. Where you are placed and how you use that platform is very important in how you showcase strategy, which should be, in my opinion, sustainable and also has ownership for the people who will be the beneficiaries. An example of my work, I will quickly do two. One is the current gender equality and women's empowerment law that we have now, how I contributed to that in terms of advocacy. And in that position, I saw an opportunity where I needed to bring this issue at the national level. And my sister will agree with me that prior to that, even though we were talking about gender issues, always a subset of something. So my focus was to engage the most important policymaker, who was my boss, the president. Gender issues. What is your take? What is your personal and genuine take on empowering women and girls? That was my focus. And so at that point, we were putting together our national development strategy, the agenda for prosperity. And we had 7 men leading this. I got there, they had already agreed on those 7 pillars. So I go in there, I sought excuse. I said, Your Excellency, I would like to join this group. And he gave me the authority. So I went to the Ministry of Finance. And I realized, this is our strategic plan for the country. And we have 7 men. So I said, where is gender? Oh, gender is in pillar 3 and on gender education. I said, okay, I didn't fight. I was looking for the opportunity to launch my campaign. And so I said, but we should have another pillar. We should do gender equality and women's empowerment. No. You come again with your gender police business and da 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 da. I listen. It is important to listen to what their fears are about. So I said, okay, would you allow me to do a technical presentation and how this benefits our country? They said, yes. I did the first presentation and I got 50% of them on my side. And they said, well, yes, but still, there are too many pillars. Let's just, let this stay well. So I then strategically went for the chairperson. And I said, you are the chief economist of the Ministry of Finance. Do you know that our GDP will increase by at least 2% if we do it? The moment I said that, and I said, this is what the Commonwealth said. Here, look at it. He said, okay, can you do another presentation on this? I said, yes. Nobody else had done a presentation. But the goal was bigger than me, quarreling with them. So on this particular day, I went there. I've put on weight, but I was as tiny as a bird. I made sure I wore the most beautiful dress. Because you have to distract yourself. Yes, you have to show up. I was well dressed and I didn't sit to do my presentation. I stood up. Yes. I gave them what they wanted to be distracted with. And in the end, I got 100% of them. We had our bill. So we had that pillar, and in the afternoon, I said, well, how did you? And they were commenting on was my dress. So we got our pillar A, and that's what they did. You understand? So I said, you have to look around and see what our men like. Yes. They like to see beautiful things. So give them beauty and get what you want. Okay? You don't necessarily have to, it's not about selling yourself or anything, but if talking to you, I start straight and you look more at my jacket, and then I get what my policy, no problem. we will all gain. So, and what fast forward, because this was something that even, I mean, they know it's UN Women, and she knows we got together. Even the UN, nobody believed that we would be able to get that. And the moment they agreed, we got UN Women who supported us with experts and ADB. So we had Pillar 8, gender equality and women's empowerment in the agenda for prosperity. It is the only pillar that has survived from that administration to this administration, and now we have a lot. Okay, so that is one. The final one, which will be brief, is also women's access to finance. So we are doing all of this. If we don't have money, especially as women, what do we do? Everything when they talk about women's financial agency, we put it down to weaponization of women's capacity to earn microcredits, Osusu, and this and that. So I've come up with a very bold, in your face kind of strategy, because we have the enabling environment now in the GWI Act and access to finance. I said we are going to have our own women's bank.
Wow.
So I went to the bank governor, I lobbied, and I was able, because even to register an organization to say it's banks, you need the central bank's approval. But I've been able to get that. So we have the Women's Green Bank registered. Oh, we have that one. I'm on my way to Algeria. What am I going to do there? Is to take that bank. It's only me and two other people at this point, because we're looking for support to establish our bank. But at least something is there. So I think really, one, it's about intentionality, and also it's about using your position to lobby, not for you, but for everyone. So we can all get it.
And probably, Madam Emery, after this, Nancy can share her experience with the military on an issue of gender-based violence when she challenged the Chief of Defense Staff quite recently. But let's go back to our panel. And now over to you, Paul. At a regional level, how do you see an organization like ECOWAS engaging civil society in terms of shaping regional advocacy?
Thank you very much. And I bring you greetings from Ghana, from the West African Democratic Solidarity Network. Please pardon me, I have a very terrible voice. I'm struggling with my throat since I entered to Freetown, as we came by air, by land,
by sea.
But Freetown is my second home because I have a big family in Freetown. So I'll try and manage with what I have for now. I'll come to the issue of ECOWAS, but let me share something that is very passionate to me as well. Then I'll conclude with the ECOWAS conversation. There is also what we call religious fundamentalism, and it's tied in strongly to the cultural violations and abuse that we are experiencing. And I personally experienced it. I was not feeling well somewhere 2012, 2015. I returned from Germany. I had a debilitating stomach ulcer. And as knowledgeable as I am, I did a lot of reading so I can understand my case. But your mother, the woman as usual, will call you, but have you look at the spiritual side? Blah, blah, blah. I just acceded to a request from an auntie, and not with my intention to buy in wholly to whatever the outcome would be, but just to satisfy her. Then when I got there, what the pastor told me was directly affects to science and technology. And I could then align and see, because we find a lot of women in these churches seeking advices that have not been proven and tested, that don't have any empirical basis. But nobody is able to monitor and ensure that the necessary safeguards and protection mechanisms are provided. What the doctor told me, if I had got by it, I'm not sure. It's what the pastor told me. If I had followed it, I'm not sure I was still here today. Because it was totally science. And I know a lot of women are going through the form of violations. And it affects them. sometimes by the time they get to hospital, they are at the end stage of whatever situation they find themselves. So that kind of violence, I call religious fundamentalism. A lot of states are running away from it because of the political capital and opportunities that they get from a lot of these parties. So nobody wants to really have there. And that ties me to the issue about providing the safeguards, like our human rights institutions, our legal aid schemes. These institutions and protective mechanisms must be working for women to seek justice. And as Madam Eze said, it's about social justice. And social justice is about how you're able to seek redress and accountability. To even know your right, to be able to even exercise that right, and are the mechanisms available for women to access justice in a way that really brings some norms. Back to the issue of ECOWAS. I think one, ECOWAS is celebrating its milestone 50 years. So this is the time that they are very open to public engagement because they want to revise the course, the normative instruments. Two, ECOWAS is facing legitimacy crisis. And as a result of that, they are finding or they're trying to redefining their approaches and strategies. So they are very receptive and very welcome. So I wanted to set the context. As part of the reform conversation going on, ECOWAS wants to set up what we call ECOSOC, Economics and Social Council. So if you look at the ECOWAS revised treaty that was passed, I think, in Lagos or so, it has all the organs that regulate the body, the bank, the parliament, the executive, the structures are there. The non-existent one is the West African citizens' voice, to have a voice or to have a body representing the views, perspectives, and opinions of West African citizens. And that's the economic and social council, that's ECOSOC. AU has something similar. And I was part of the technical team that worked on the foundational document for the establishment. And they are planning to have a committee in gender. So I think as women, we can add our voices, some of these ongoing reforms at the regional level, and also strategically and find entry points for gender-related context in some of the reforms that we are seeing at the moment. They are also, ECOWAS is also revising the protocol of democracy and good governance. There's a section on gender. Maybe we can draw learning and knowledge from the study that we have done and submit a memo to ECOWAS for consideration. Drawing also from other gender and human rights mechanisms that exist in everything. So I would say that generally we are in a very good moment for some of these reforms at the regional level. But whilst we are thinking regionally, at least a lot of the work is also at the national level.
Thank you. Well, thank you. So now we only have 15 minutes left. It looks long, but the conversations are so engaging. Madam A, how do you think that we can move youth from online activism to real world impact?
Yeah.
I want to say thank you again. When you asked a question just now, I think maybe because I didn't, I saw the agenda, but I wasn't sure I was on any panel. So I just give my practical experiences. But I think it's important to roll out some things on strategies for engaging. I will come back to that. On yesterday, we were talking about the gender budgeting. I teach that environment. And Austin said, Austin reacted. I think she also pointed out that we have one of the best budgets this year for Nigeria in terms of the budget. But as I'm speaking now, the 2024 budget is what is in operation.
Yes.
At the end of 2025. So policy implementation that we're talking about is just the political will, and also the operations of the political class is something. But in terms of going back to the strategy, we need to look at community engagement and education. You need to be able to look at a community-based, looking at men, women, and youth. We need to be able to use storytelling, drama, and also I love invisible theater. What we call invisible theater, is done by I think is a popular theater that is used to be able to bring the message, just like our sister have done. She was alone. She struggled with it, thought about it, and became very, very innovative. And she was able to get the message through. But she also, listening skills, very, very important. We need to be innovative with the traditional and religious leaders because they're not listening. Many of them are not listening, but some of them that we are able to get hold of in order to promote gender equality education and also going back in schools. Another point is a survival center. I'm just going to mention the point so that I don't drag us too much. Ensure advocacy of leads and support those directly affected by gender-based violence. We need to be able to look at that. Policy and legal advocacy, influencing the laws, policies, and institutional practices. We need to look at the people themselves. Like Ebere pointed out, she went to the police. The police that is supposed to be the host of what we're talking about does not even understand what we. So in Tanzania, they have this integrity department. We started taking care of educating and also sensitizing people, a different brand of police that were working on gender equality. And so campaign, for stronger laws or protecting, laws are not in itself. When we had the serious issue of gender-based violence, the Kaduna State, one of the governors, became stricter more than the VAP law itself. He gave carceration for anybody who rapes, carceration. But people are not aware of the law. People are not sensitized. So evidently it's not practicable to implement. So alone promulgating the law is not enough. The media and communication campaign, very, very important. Use jingles and all of that, TV, social media, and that. The fifth point is coalition building. Serious coalition building on the issues that we're talking about, collaborate and also provide with healthcare providers, with the police and other educators as well. Capacity building is my point number 6 on that. And we need to train a lot of health workers because in one particular, environment, a 7-year-old was raped. And they took her to the health facility. And when they got to the health facility, the nurse there had been bribed and so refused to take evidence. So eventually, a journalist took evidence. He just decided to do a photography. But the community came and said, unless he deletes the evidence, they were not going to leave him. And so you find out that the community that is supposed to protect people, have left them behind. Then monitoring and research. I will just say briefly, engaging men and boys is actually the last point that I have on ground. Right. That we cannot preach to ourselves alone. The social media has brought us a lot. Technology. Can we round on? Yes. I just want to, because that's the original point that you raised. I'm sorry. I wanted to ask on the youth, because I'm on the streets at all times. Educating, transparency and accountability is very, very important. Know that others are involved to make a difference. Don't lead people blindly. We want the critical mass. The young people need to be educated. Let them know their rights so that when they follow you, and you who is a leader, you must be clean yourself and lead people directly. I think a lot is happening. We lead Activista is one special example of actually. Activista is a crop of young people. We have trained thousands, both outside the country and some of them are in the UN today. And that is that you want qualitative young people to engage, knowingly, meaningfully, courageous, to be radical, bold, but be humble. Thank you.
So the question I'll ask you is, what are the most effective ways to build inclusive movement? Because we're talking a lot about the women's movement, feminist movement. How can they be more inclusive?
Okay, maybe before I go to the question, I don't wanted to add towards bringing out the youth on the social media. I think making them know that there's a safety netting for them, because the social media is more or less anonymous. The reprisal doesn't really come. Some of them can speak out openly on the social media, but when it comes to the practical aspect, they're afraid of reprisal or punishment. So if they are short of the safety netting or protection for them, if they decide to go out, because like we say, it's something the society is trying to protect and you want to speak out about it, that could help the youth move further than they are doing now. Then about inclusion, certainly is not what women can do alone. We need the men. And since the men seem to be input the problem, we need to work with them. And the young men, the boys too. Because I also keep saying that we should even start the process of socialization. Because from the home, as simple as it seems, it's from the home that the boys imbibe the fact that their gender assigned rules. Simple things like your daughter cooks, your son plays, the daughter washes plates and all is what they grow with. And sometimes the men think that's the example they set. A man and woman comes back from work, the man watches television, the woman cooks. It's simple, but that's where it starts from. Because like yesterday, I think he came on what stops a man from helping the woman while she's cooking? What stops a man from even cooking? You could get home before the wife and you sit and wait for her to come back. That's the truth, because it's something we've imbibed that is the role of the woman to cook. So no matter how tired she is, she cooks. She also takes care of the home. So we need to bring the men and the boys on board. And the leaders are also members of the society. So if their mindsets are changed, they will certainly join the campaign and agree, recognize that it's something they are doing for themselves. Now we're talking about tokenism and all. It's something that we're doing for the betterment of society. It's not just for the interest of women, it's for everybody. I think that's the key area that they need to understand, that it's for us, not for them. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So third question goes to Nasu again. What role? Okay. I think I gave someone else your question. How do we ensure survivors of gender-based violence have access to justice? I will take this opportunity to bring the issue that you asked that you were speak about Friday. So I also serve as the lifetime gender patron of the military. It's a position that was not solicited, but I don't think they understood what it means. And but before she goes ahead, she's called small pepper.
Small pepper.
Small pepper.
Victoria, but I'll give you this example and justify this that you need to actually really also think about gender-based violence within the forces, the police and the military. In there, the women in those spaces, I don't think we're paying enough attention to. But anyway, the presenter spoke about the special women who were enlisted in the military. That process actually started while I was gender advisor, but you know, it's the current government to the first lady's effort got these women enlisted. One of those young women was raped by a corner. And the military action, and not just the military, the entire system was from the start against this young lieutenant. I was actually in Lagos
somebody sent me a message saying, have you seen this? So the first thing I did was to get to the victim. What happened? I tried to get an audience with the CDS. He said, oh yes, okay, I'll try. And 2-3 days later, I said, okay, I am your life champion. I'll show up. And immediately I said, that's he invited me. We had these discussions and okay, let the military do their investigation, we'll get back to you. Again, I was very obedient. Okay, because I really wanted to understand what they were doing. And I had to let him understand that I trusted their process. Moving forward, we also advised, or somebody advised the lady to go because rape is a statutory crime. It's not within the mandate of the military to deal with it. So she went to the police and reported. They went to the colonel's house, they did all the rest. That was the last time they dealt with the young lady. So again, I was in Nigeria and she called and said, Mommy, have you heard that they've taken the file to the Director of Public Prosecutions Office? How is that possible? Did you know? He said, the investigation, did they come back to me? She said, from the 2nd of May, nobody spoken to me. I smelled the rat. So I called the Justice Department. Have you received this file? Oh, we've not received it. I said, oh, no, I'm coming. So I came and I started, I went to the Justice Department and said, well, they have not done what you believe that they should have done. But anyway, do you have the file? And so I found my own ways and realized that, yes, the police had sent the file, but they failed to include the medical reports from the military in the file. Now, if this file has gone to the Justice Department without the medical reports, then how are you going to make an informed opinion for charging or not charging? Unfortunately, it was on a Thursday like this. The young lady I was there and she called me and she said, the CDS has called me to meet him at 5, and the police have also called me to meet them at 2. They've got the file. So I said, come. And that was the first time I saw her. We met and I went with her. We got there and the police were very happy with themselves and found that, there is no case to answer here. This is what the DDP's office have come with the report. And we did this, so we just wanted to do it. So she wanted to talk. Her father was there. I said, can you show us? I said, did you send the military medical report? Oh, yes, we sent it. In fact, Madam, look at it. I said, okay, give me my phone. I want to put the Attorney General on speaker because I believe he has lied to us. Oh, no, Madam, you don't need to do that. I said, no, you're telling me this is you. Let's see the file. Okay. Oh, we even interviewed. You interviewed. We have phone records. You have phone records? Yes. The reason why I'm going into this is because the process to justice is very, very important. Yeah. It's very important. So please bear with me because it's important and you can use it in open spaces. Mm-hmm. And so we spoke with, they said, yes, we have a print out called, from who? From the accused and his alibi. Did you interview her? Did you ask for her own
side of the story?
No, the phone records. No, but we have everything here. Do you have her mother's phone records? No. Okay. I said now, and now you're telling us that so I said fine. Please go and tell the Inspector General that you've done a poor job and you've denied her justice, and that we're going to come after all the forces. And the moment we said that, they're like, well, what can we do now? I said, nothing. Or not to what you've done. What they had done was systematically from the military to the police to the Justice Department, they had believed the version of this colonel who had also gone to the media to try and malign this young lady who could have been kicked out of the military. In fact, she was her parents had said, just leave. Her father was also, just leave. She was crying, she was suicidal, but this is what our system was going to do to this young woman. So I took it upon myself and I got allies later, including the Minister of Gender and the Special Advisor to the President on Gender. I told them, we have to stand up. This is what is happening. And it was only then when they realized, yes, it was only when we realized.
This evidence for our own strategy. Listen.
I get that.
Yes.
Go ahead. Okay. Well, it's true because this is a regional conference. Sometimes it's good for issues like this for us to understand. And if I was just appointed by them, they tried to really put me aside because they had done everything, because this person was a protected person in the military. And I was against the presidency and the security forces in this country fighting this case. But I knew that I believed in the victim. I believed in her and I saw the evidence. So I then got the attention of the chief minister. I said, I want to meet the president because they are trying to read this case. Because they were, so we went there and the police chief was there, the FSU was there, the chief of army was there, the minister was there, the minister of gender and the, so of course, they were very supportive. They do their best because it was now a collective job, because we needed the gender advisor in the presidency to push the right button. We needed the minister of gender to push her own button. And the things that they cannot say, my mouth is so big, I can say it. So we got to the chief minister's office and they had already concluded this issue. You could see it. And then they said, well, so, okay, what we need to do now is to basically come out with a press release that, the DPP's report has shown that this, the man has nothing to do, that there isn't sufficient evidence. So, and they're coming to the promotion. Since I have a little bit more time, it's dangerous. And I stood up and I said, if you take that press release out, my own press release will be national, regional, international, and everywhere. And I will throw you all under the bus. You cannot do this. And it was that reason why the press release didn't come. So this was in line for promotion. Okay? And we got this news that they want to promote him. We started advocating again. What did they do? What did the police and the military do? They went to the president and gave him the wrong information. And so he was promoted from lieutenant, from colonel to brigadier. Now they've empowered. But before we went there, we actually got to the CDS to say we want to talk to the military, the women in the military. When we got there, we spoke to the officers first we spoke to 80 commissioned officers. 15 out of the 13 that spoke about sexual harassment, 13 of them was from this man. Right. And then we also went and spoke to 285 with the chief of defense staff. What's this? And again, they were naming this man. Mm-hmm. So how could you go and put this man's name to be promoted? So we got an idea that he was protected from above. And at this point, my colleagues are serving members in government. There are certain things they cannot say. So I said, listen, the partnership is very good, but here you have to excuse me. I have to go. This is beyond us. Because we needed to protect this young lady. And we were not going to stand and allow her to leave her job that she so dearly has earned because of one ruthless human being. So I took to social media to counter the narrative that he was in love with, that they were going out together, which is fraternization. She had the audacity to say to us, it was fraternization, but they both did not agree that they were going out together. No, she was not going out with him. She was raped forcefully. And if the institution that is supposed to protect her couldn't, we had to stand up. So social media was where I dented his screaming that they've given him. Today he cannot walk with his brigadier title with his head up. I brought him down and I told him the last thing I did on social media was if you think, because by this time they decorated him, right? If the president, and I sent a message to the president, I said, I don't believe in you anymore in protecting women because you've shown us an example that that you have sacred cows. Okay. And that again, I did it publicly. People were saying, they'll come. I said, you only die once, but I have produced so many other nasus that it is you have to show up that this is the only way you can empower our young people to know that they have a voice. But we cannot leave a 30-year-old woman to drop, and they would have sent her to the farthest side of this country to go and serve in her military capacity. But we needed to bring her credibility back, that she did not lie, that she was speaking the truth, that even though the law has not protected her, but we believed in her. So she also got promoted. And we said to her, she got promoted. She's now the gender advisor for the military. And we now have gender advisors in all other aspects. And UN Women, we're going to work with them to strengthen the gender directorate. We are going to go there. So the CDS will be like this. So I said, CDS, me. I'm going to be your partner by fire, by force, and by area. You will work with me, whether you want it. But you need to sometimes be blatant. No, she's going on mission because they wanted her to go somewhere for 2 weeks. I said, what? 2 weeks? No, find somewhere for her to go. She needs a year to go somewhere so she can go and rethink. After 1 year, she comes back and she wants to be in the meeting. So be it. And we got that too. And we had several of our women who have gone through this. Now they are the gender advisors who told us stories. We had to protect them. And they've been promoted too. So because of this fight, so something good came out of this. Because of this fight, we now have, they announced last week, right? The first lieutenant, the first female who was also part of the military, first female who is going to be heading a whole brigade. Wow. So we are not there to stand beauty contest. We're there to make sure that women in the military are protected and they are going to advance their career. So now that UN Women has supported them with this big money, we're going to make sure that that money is also spent where it should be. So I really think, in conclusion, it's about when you have been given an opportunity to serve, you must deliver by example. You must show resilience. The women who have come before us did not just stand there and say, oh, when we leave their positions, I've left the gender advisor's position for 10 years, but nobody can minimize me in this space.
Yes.
I will go there, I will take the mic, I will speak, because very few of us in this country today, she knows, that have the guts to speak to our authorities the way that's supposed to. So we cannot be silenced.
And let's do some local around,
Needing remarks for sure. I'm fine. I really did.
Okay. You have 1 minute.
It's our champion.
Yes. 1 minute. One. Let's provide a lot of mentoring opportunities for women. I am a personal experience of situations where I provided opportunities to a lot of females, and they've been tremendous and they've been inspirations. Just about 2 or 3 days, a lady posted something about me on Facebook about an encounter we had at the office that we had briefly, where she needed some support. And I came in to provide her support. She wanted to further her education. She needed additional support from the institution, elected, and all those things. I think when we create mentoring opportunities, we are also empowering men one way or the other, but they are capable. They need opportunities. They need to be in the right spaces. They need to be in the right environment. Finally, there is something called authoritarian alliance. And I mean, we see what's happening in the US. Human rights, democracy, rule of law is not something that is a priority, it's being violated frequently. And we are seeing evidence of it in Africa across. So these authoritarian regimes are playbooks. They first attack citizens, they attack institutions, they make them redundant and useless. So what we need to do as part of the strategy is to be innovative and adapt to the changing context. So we cannot continue to talk to ourselves as Madame was saying. How do we build other solidarity and alliances? Like in Wadimos, we have something we call democrats. So we have opting creatives who have a skill and talent to use that skill and talent to amplify some of the advocacy points that we promoting. And it's been very, very powerful. Yesterday, look at the song that we sang. I listened to the lines step by step, and it was really captivating. So let's look at adapting to the changing context so that our advocacy can hit the right spots. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This has been so powerful, and we will have an opportunity when the time arises for
You
questions.
say that from Nigeria, we have all the defense, all the military. The military have a gender policy, the civil defense, the police were working, we're almost finalizing. Each one of them now have a gender policy, which was I just thought that women peace. I just thought to share that, if the subject
So,
wasn't
yeah.
having a share.
We have that, they just don't look at it.
So we've spoken about some key institutions that really need our attention. So yesterday we spoke about the private sector, and today the security sector is coming out as left out of our conversations. Also, as we're rounding up this report, you can mention that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Maybe just before you go, there'll be a picture, but let's maybe one or two questions.
Yeah.
Please keep it short because fun is not just let's fire from this side.
Yeah, so thank you very much for your explicit presentation. My question is about us, the Gen Zs, the young women. Yes, okay. I would want to know how we, the young women, be at the center in ending violence against women and girls effectively and efficiently. One instance, I have a colleague who is the youngest female parliamentarian. Since she got there, all she complains about is that you're small, you're young, you're not supposed to take the lead. So I want to know how we will be capacitated. Even when we get there, we continue fighting and taking the space or the spaces that are provided for us. Thank you.
Keep it short, please.
My question builds on yours. So when there was a question on inclusion, and I think we left out intersectionality. I think we should talk about that rural women, other women with special needs, persons with disabilities. We should talk about that.
Okay. One more, everybody. Okay, Mark. Okay. All right. Let's take it this way.
Just on the young.
We the Gen Z. We.
Yes, I'm retired, retired Gen. We reach out, so it's not, I think, what our young people need to understand. I get people who send me messages, hi. On Facebook. What does that mean? Hi. Hi. Okay, wait, so, hey. No, so you approach strategically. So our youngest parliamentarians, once they got into parliament, some of us will reach out to them. We reach out to them to avail ourselves to what, if they need us. But a lot of them have not responded to us. In fact, some of them are my friends sitting on LinkedIn. You will never have them even comment or like. Why? Because you're not in the same political party. Sure. So if you are a Gen Z, you should not just be responsible to your political party. There is a cause called women's empowerment, and that should take center stage. Because when you need that support and you don't have it, without saying much, we saw something that happened recently. Okay, and they were looking for women to come out, but the women didn't come out. Yes. If we reach out to you to give you our support free of charge and you don't take it, you cannot turn around and blame us. If you want to do TikTok, tag us on the TikTok so we can see what you're doing. So we can also comment. So it's both ways. We never got anything for free. Our mentors, we followed them, we harassed them, we sent them messages, we kept them informed. So as a Gen Z, so retired Gen Z, it has to be both ways.
And if I may add anything, I mean, basically that's what you said, madam, but I think we should also have a brand and identity for ourselves. Let it not always be defined by others. I have, me personally, it's a South African society. People want to define people who they are. But how do you define yourself? Who do you think you are? Let others say it. But do you believe in what they say? But it also requires a lot of personal growth and development. So who is your mentor? If Chairman McMahon is your mentor, you approach him. How have you been able to harness the skill of public speaking? How do you do it? How do I get the needed craft, deliver of work? You have to do some personal investment. And that is an area that a few young people who are taking advantage of that, they are really excelling. Right? But if you just want it to be the Facebook, the picture,
All right. I just want to say, I think maybe a very easy one, they want to answer this question, but I'm just going to, the young people are not reading. The young people with current affairs is almost zero. They are watching movies, they are on the social media and all. In our time, up till now, we watch every damn news. So you are up to date with your ideas. You want to challenge anybody, you challenge with evidence. I can stand on the street, I will talk to the government, but I'm evidence-based. You can't do that unless you're able to. So you need to read, whether it is the newspapers or whether it is the news, you have one channel and the other. You know the one that is talking about local news. You also identify. There was a young woman, not a young person anymore, now inspired Gen Z. And she was going to go for governorship. And they told her to see me, that you are from my state. You talk to Ellen. And I met her. She was meeting me for the first time. She doesn't know me. But a rural person in the marketplace will say, is that auntie that is going? Is this real? And something like that. Which means she was never ready for leadership. She cannot engage. She has no evidence. And so this is very important. Every piece of news, we need role models. Everyone can speak on that. The issues of mentorship. Thank you.
And if you could keep it short, tea is ready.
Okay. On my part, we've had young people complain that they reach out, but they are not. We've also tried to reach out to the women in positions of authority. Like Antene said, Madam Ebere is doing a lot. She has a young people, but there are other groups too that need to bridge that gap, especially the women themselves who are in positions of authority. We talk to them, but one of them told me, are they ready for mentorship? And some of them want to compete with them. It's a problem we have as women. How can somebody reach out to you and you're now saying she wants to compete with you? There's no competition. It's unfortunate. If the men are saying they want to take their place, then you're also saying they want to compete with you. It's an area we really need to talk about. There's need for us to understand that we complement each other. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Just two things to point out. We talked about young girls trying to reach out, and then the older women having kind of feelings that they want to compete with them. It's just about personal identity, who you are, and what you believe strongly in. we have reached out to some women, highly placed women. I remember that we all supported a woman to get to a certain position, and she got elected to that position. We sent her a letter just to come have a conversation with her so that to understand how we can support her and the areas she will really need us to support her. She didn't respond to us. I tried to call her personally, and what I got was, I'll get back to you, madam. And I said, okay. A few months later, she got a serious passion, and they called us. I said, oh, so we will not get work to do. Then I now come and say, I said, we can fire on, deal with her.
Instead I get back to you.
I'll get back.
What's real?
You see, that's what we experience. These women do not want us. And when you supported them, when they came to us, I remember at that time when she was contesting that election, she was always calling, she was always coming around, she was always, and we supported her. It was after that bashing. And something else happened to another woman, and we all came out. And then she went to my senator and told my senator, you see, they choose the people they support. Then my senator called me. What is going on? I said, no, don't answer that question. Ask her to come back to us.
Yes.
We have the answer to give to her. When I explained to the senator, he now said, no, this is a very big error. Until today, not that we are working together, but if she needs anything, she will find a way to say, hey, Sister Mary, we'll see you. I said, no problem, ma. I'm never going to look for her. The only that we see for telephone, we'll see for outside. We've never sat down to discuss, but this is what it is. And for the young girls, some of them you supported. When they get there, in fact, even before getting there, they will not think that they're wiser than you. We don't even know how to do it. We are the young people. We can do our way. Foundation, they will. Without foundation, you will not get there. For us that we are doing this work, we are standing on the shoulders of the women before us. Until tomorrow, we acknowledge them.
Yes.
Because if you want to start the work from now, you are going to start from the foundation. But no, we didn't start from there because we had other people. And those people that we are standing on their shoulders stood on other people's shoulders until we begin to understand it. Then there won't be any synergy. So whether not Gen Z or whether I aspire, I said it's inspired. I'm not inspired yet. I'm feeling you say let us make use of social media, the right way. Still see some young girls. I see them in the street. I'll just stand and watch and laugh. You'll say, "Oh, yeah," and I'm like, "What's going on?" That person is your governor, state governor. Is it not as something as insignificant as that? So you have to make use of your time to read, to understand, listen to the news, like Senate said. Yeah? Finally, I just want to say something about the news. I met one very big politician from Lagos State, and then we start, having a conversation. From there, we became friends. I mean, any morning he will call me up. Yeah, no, Madam Ebere, how are you today? I say I'm fine. I say, this issue. I mean, I will run my mouth, and after that, he told me one day that after having that conversation with me, he will go and dress up very well and go to your account. When he gets there, he will return back all those things I said to him. And they started asking him, you're doing when in politics now. You are not very vast. You are not doing Lagos politics alone. No, you even understand other states. He said, I mean, you know that. Three consultation. But you see, it's very important. You have to know it. You have to listen. You have to watch the news. I'm not saying don't watch Telemundo, Z1 and stuff like that. Okay? The great time. News time. You have 6, you have 7, we have 8, we have 9, and then the grand finale 10 o'clock. Okay, so if you to follow the series 10 o'clock or before 10, listen to the news. Otherwise, you'll be doing TikTok. Nigeria go wrong. Syria alone go wrong. Only you go remain. Thank you. Okay.
We can answer it later. So on this, on really when women is what you just said. Okay, somebody who you've supported.
Yes.
And most times when they now come crying that we should support, the people will say, how do we create the balance? Because you're thinking, okay, we cannot because you know what you've done. And then you have this other about the cause. Women. How do we navigate? Because some of us who do exactly what you do, we get the women on whose shoulders we've stood to say, it's for the cause. Please just go. But I cannot go and support something I believe my could also go against cause.
Okay.
How do we navigate that?
Thank you. I'll just try to explain something, but I will give a name.
No, we need to end this panel.
Please, we'll do that. Just let us end this.
5 minutes, so can end it.
Yes. But the name is Luther Mama. So you see, for me, honestly, when it's about women, young girls, persons with disabilities, I come out strongly to support them. But I'm also of the opinion that if I'm supporting you, you should also not put yourself where you will not be able to access that support. Chairman, I introduced the young girl to Chairman when Chairman was in Nigeria for something. She was not even contesting at that time. But when she started, the contest, really, I went there with Mr. Austin to a place I've never been to in Abuja. And I went there alone. I didn't know I would, spend that long time there. So when it was almost 12 midnight, Austin said to me, Mama, you have to live here now. Interior place, Kurudu, never been to that side before.
No, the Kurudu you are talking about is the town side.
Yes. In the Kurudu, you understand? So that late night, I was on the road alone, driving back to Osetu. And by the time this girl, that brought her up, she didn't win that election, but we gave them a serious fight. In fact, there was no election. Austin was there till 2 a.m. because we stood back to say there must be an election, no rigging. We want to watch her lose or win. And they also kept us waiting. People will wait here forever. But we'll still, there she's serving with the, as an advisor or something.
Yeah, special advisor on community development, North Central.
Yes, today. And then an issue, I'm from the Southeast, probably an Igbo woman.
When you finish that story, that Chairman gave some seed.
Yes, I got Chairman to give her seed money for her campaign.
Like $500.
Not just Chairman, other people, because funding was a problem. So I went out canvassing for money. And every money she got, the best way to her, not that they gave us to give her, we will always share her contacts. And in fact, few days to the election was when I called Chairman. I said, Chairman, we still need support. And Chairman quickly sent $500. Okay? So I just realized that there's this special hatred, when it comes to people from the Southeast, and she's not hiding it. And when you receive support from me from the Southeast to boost your political career, you're also writing publicly against my people. You cannot love me and not love my people. And I said, okay, we'll see how it goes. I'm still waiting because there will be an opportunity and I will pay back. It's not going to be about women issues. No. So we just have to be careful about how we support this people. It's very important. And for me, if you come to me, whether you're from A party, B party, or C party, that's not my problem. I will support you as a woman. But when you feel that we are not important, like it happened to this woman now, we can say, go and hug transformer. I said, that is between her and Wike. Someone, if she had punched us to tell us this is my situation, we'll just tell her, sis, don't say anything. Leave us to deal with Wike. Wike cannot tell me to help transformer. Wike is wrong. We'll deal with him the same way. But because you are someone holding an office, you can't go out to the market with Wike, but we can do it. You can only say, leave those mad people. But he will never ask us to go and help transformer or say, derogatory things about us. He will only say, those people, leave them all, they are mad people.
something like that.
but will defend you. She didn't get that support. So it will have to be, tactful in doing some of these things. Don't say because she's a woman. There's also one very sensitive case which I won't mention here. I've had issues with Austin on that. Austin is on one of that camp. He doesn't even know where he is because he's standing in the team. But the truth is, I cannot say because you're a woman, you will raise an allegation you have no evidence. And then I will come out to stand because you are a woman, I'm supporting you. I will not do it.
My camp is better.
No.
Your camp is not better. You must take a position. That is what it is. So for me, I want to support women. I am also the type that will be very careful because it will hurt me to go all out to fight. And after that, I'll be disgraced.
Yeah, but in that kind of situation, they have to keep quiet, not take a side.
No.
Don't be against her.
What you mean by taking a side is
That's my side.
no, that's not your side.
As the chief.
Okay. But what you
Okay. Let's give
any part
Yes.
I just want to give an example. There was a lady, we had the first female speaker in Nigeria.
I forgot that one.
They had a first female speaker. But once she came on, one is that in terms of capacity, she didn't have.
Yes, that's it.
She was just a saloonist. Somehow, through the political means, she came on board and they pushed her. When it was time for the speakership, they didn't look at the very qualified women and gave it to her. But we called her because from the NGO world,
Yes.
come and see researchers, come and see advocates. We mobilized the whole country. We came into a meeting and said, come and tell us what to do. We have the engine room. We will be the engine room for your research and we'll give you what you want. The donor agencies, because of the women, gender issues, they were top notch. This woman kept us for dinner.
She had a dinner organized for her that we paid for.
The dinner that
We paid for.
Came from all over the country without anybody giving anyone any transport fare.
Yes.
And we paid for the dinner. She waited until after 8 p.m. Then she sent us a representative.
Vanilla. Yes.
So
and she went to attend the
everybody kept quiet. We ate our dinner in silence.
Yes.
And everybody went. Few weeks later, she started having problems.
Yes.
So the essay called me. And I say, if you call my name twice, it just happened was that, she had an appointment at Asuro. Women are not using their positions. As long as I'm concerned, no matter what president, and you say Nigerian women have gathered for you, the president will let you go. They took her down. They took her down. They took her down.
Yes.
She lost the seat.
She lost the seat.
But she had an advantage. There was another woman who was contesting, had won a ticket that was supposed to go, for governorship. Many of us demonstrated. We never met the woman. Mobilized with Molue. They changed the venue 4 times. We followed them with the big buses and go to those venues. What I'm trying to bring in is we don't have to know the women we are advocating for. Once we know their history, we move on. There were some young feminists when we had NSAS program.
Yes.
We have a breed of young feminists who went online, who were supplying food to the demonstrators.
Yes.
In different parts of the country.
Yes, we did.
They opened an account, and this time it's no longer just young people. It's not the rich or the poor. Middle class children, they were sending in money until EFCC blocked the account. If not the kind of money would have sustained that momentum and all of that. But what we are saying is, we need role models. We are not giving up. Some people have done well. Some people will do well. Some of the politicians will come out, and work. But there are others that will not do that. And so I want to encourage that you don't give up because a sister has faltered. But you can lead a horse to the water. You can't force it. You can't force it to drink water. In that case, but do not demean this person. They will have their finger gone and they will shoot you. Thank you.
Finally, we thank you very much. Would you like to take a bow?
Yes.
Not take a bow. Please take the picture about National Assembly in Nigeria. We have done when you take a bow. But maybe just to add, as the pictures have been taken, is that every profession requires some commitment. If you want to be in this sector, be in the sector. Because if I'm an engineer, I don't care what you do in politics. I may want to just be my engineer. But if you play in this place, you want to engage with knowledge. Whether as a person with disability or whatever category. Again, speaking to issues around intersectionality, is that I said something earlier. When you go to a woman who has won an election, how are you going to train him? Like train her. She will feel she know more than you. So we change the strategy. Not call it training, meet and greet. We will read them. All right, thank you very much again. So because we are supposed to go for tea, let's go for tea and we'll go straight into the next one. Let's do a walking tea, please. Can you get it here? Okay. Let's get tea.
We are coming back by 11:55.
All right. Okay, the second walking tea will not work, but sitting tea will work.
Come back by 11:55. 11:55.
If I want to give the time that I'm wasting. All right, we are back here 11:55. Sierra Leone time, not Nigeria time.
This is 11.
5:5. So they don't go and look at Nigeria time. You think it's not pass.
It's 20 minutes for tea. Yes, everybody.
All right, thank you. Tea break now.
Get going and come back here. Good.
Well, you should definitely try to get you that. There's no chance that. Yeah.
So with possible thing. I feel he will just turn around. Take one here. Yes. I thought I would be doing a lot of people. All right, or you don't have upstairs.
Yes, so she's my junior.
I didn't know.
Just to my point here.
No, but Fakim will also say she has retired as NC.
No, but it will give us, when she's about to.
About to retire from tennis.
Yes.
So, why are you going to
Just need to get tea.
we encourage everyone to go for tea now so that unless you're not taking tea, so that we can come back to we have just 51 minutes to come back to the hall. Thank you. And so some wants you cannot sell that.
Oh, you mean I'm Okay.
Well, asking you to share. Special advice. Alright, that's fast. Maybe. Indulge you.
It is not even about leadership. It's when I speak about it, just really
I was thinking, I don't share.
various solutions.
Important.
It is not even about person. Here it starts. What has happened with the system?
Trying to set up. If I'm good for tea, there will still be time for photographs.
Plus, which happens.
Where did this thing go on?
No.
I'm talking about it. Go.
I'm not going to sugar. Need for me to end up as a civilian. I have been for the last years. I used to be a deputy leader. I have not taken any position in the SRT, even the APC, because I wanted to speak more to the issues.
That's how you see.
So what I'm trying to say that is not. No, I was not.
Right here.
I was not. I have only we'll give it.
I'm checking some sound. I know what's checking. I'm taking. I've never seen. I've been watching.
But I'm even looking at the lights for the next people to come in.
Yes, you're taking this off and trying.
I think I'll just take it off.
Let me go and get the breakfast. The lights rising.
Yes. And it's part of the background. I'll just remove it. But so you also sit on that at that seat so that I can be giving it time. Like I was saying.
That's a timer.
You set your time.
She's taking the next.
Yes.
This is the one sample to transport. Family for teaching the next. Because the seats will learn. What's the things they learn? Chairman, would you want Faith to get something for you?
Or I'll go there.
Oh.
You'll get
Just an opportunity to stretch out.
Yeah, great for that.
Yeah, we need to do this.
It's not possible to listen to myself at the same time now.
Wow.
You know, it was telling me to read that I located because in Asian for
Well, then I don't know, she's just just I have to write to her publicly too.
But I think that I don't how do people come to hate a particular ethnicity?
no, they do. It's not because
How?
Also, Lagos is from Yorubas. And yet you are now representing North Central. So North Central is not for the North. For the other.
so that they do.
Am I knows on that day? Now,
Yes. As husband, one for her. Granny prison. When someone told me, yes, someone told me that I just there's somebody that went to prison in London. They mobilized for very strategic.
I know you want to benefit you.
So the sister,
I know that girl.
said that it had no impact on her.
You know that fast issue. You know that's all.
She has her own way. But there are some rights everything was right.
She don't like them, man.
And then her children are from the south too. All given.
Outside from that.
Married. And they have given. Yeah. There are people who will get you so angry. Now, feminist group, we had one issue like that with one woman. Every day she will write. I called her Biola Kyorebra. After that, I sent back. I will teach this woman a lesson. Madness, not be one person gets her. So I faced her. No, dizzy. I was brutal. And I told her that this one is the online one we are doing. Because anywhere I see her physically, I'll tell her that I'm an evil woman. Abiola started begging me. They removed her from the group. Not quite 6 months or thereabouts. I don't know what she did in Canada. The Kano State governor declared her wanted. One professor.
Yeah.
Abiola now called me, sis, let's bring her in. She needs our support. I said, I never support her. The man declared her.
Keep asking.
Where?
Where is this lead coming from? What did we do? It's not what I'm suffering.
I can't even understand it.
I know what I'm suffering that is. They are stressful. They don't avoid it. Thank you.
Generational thing. So they
You know what's really in jail? They say don't suffer abuse. Please trying to what you want to dredge the Uganda. So all the shit that was supposed to be coming to take us.
That's why they really define
Those statements, only hear it during the election. No, honestly,
I said today.
like I have
It's a anything.
few friends that I forgot that they are Igbos because
you see, if you don't see the sector very well,
You are decongested.
meanwhile, I stopped going to Twitter. If you enter, if I enter Twitter, the change is right.
yeah.
Social different feelings. And I know that sometimes the one day is close to you.
It will.
Yeah, very soon.
It's already started.
It's a politician.
What happened in Lagos?
And those that the
Ordinary people are like them.
that is now when you meet now. So the conversation is like it's not
The modern elites are using that religion
to hold it exactly.
Yeah. So they
Like it was like doing answers. The only thing they were telling those boys in Abuja was that they want to remove Baba. They weren't giving them the context of what is happening.
Baba himself thought they were said they want to remove Baba. So that's the
So it's
So you remember my shit, you can see why I'm talking about this shit.
just pray God he heals us.
yeah, it's actually
Just
getting
got that.
I mean, me, I know they fear.
Mm.
I tell them anywhere I go to. I'm probably an evil woman. If you attack me, I'm ready. I will attack you back. No two ways about it. Because
But that's actually the way to tackle bullies and people like this sometimes because they don't expect you to fight back sometimes.
even in my community, this is not just about ethnic
Ethnic
things.
or
No.
religious.
We started something new in my community. And the traditional ruler drafted me into the legal team. We came up with ideas and then legal documents on how to carry on. In the process of having those conversations and putting things, there are so many people try to influence us, but we remain focused. because we remained focused, the next thing they brought out propaganda against us.
It's always those.
So the propaganda was really tricky. Like, where are those people? In fact, they got the youth, and the youth said that they were going to burn our houses. So my brother called, people were calling me, leave these people, leave them. So one of them, I said, the person training the youth, get house. They get house. Him. I won't fight him only in the village. I'll bring the war to Abuja. I said I will destroy him. Tell him that that's what I said. The other guy called me. He said, better. I said, this violence, now who even get monopoly?
Nobody has a monopoly about
I said, my own people.
You are planning your own.
In the north. Yeah, I know them now. I'm going to tell them that they're accusing me that I'm supporting you people. And that's why they have done this. See his house here in Abuja. They will tell Amenta Abuja, he will come back, he won't see house. But now when I said that they now said this woman tough, this woman a mental case, so she be. You didn't hear about burning this thing again. They now had a meeting to get the true position. They are not the people championing it. No, it was wrong information they gave us. But the other guy was already like, I have his father's house. I said, me, I build house. I'm a house. Maybe they want to build new design for us. Because if they burn their house, God knows that they will build it. But even then, their own will go. His house is bigger than my house. He will lose Abuja. He will lose Abreba. They will not come
I
to
think
the
the problem more than that again is that we women.
So you see that this is what it's not. So it's not just only about this.
You're not supposed to be outspoken.
You're not supposed to that you're not aligning with them.
Like me,
They
somebody
create
told me
propaganda
just
around.
recently
And
that
the best
I
way
don't
to
have
create
election.
propaganda is
They knew what to do.
religion.
No, what I like to say is when I say if you fight me, I fight back. I don't care where you
No, yeah.
Agents, and agents are the dogs were. They said, you know this dog. So we went to get it. I said, so where did you get it? They said, we knew that you know the dog. We made sure that you didn't have agents. We connected, right? We made sure. And
your agents go sign for them, correct? Because they will pay them.
Okay, my agent tag.
So yeah, I remember you told me about that.
So I entered an election with no cards, had no agent, not even one agent. So they don't even come there. Meanwhile, what they now give a polling unit for that, they will now give their own people tags. They will write it with hand to put it here, collecting my polling polls and be writing. But my own agent said they cannot come there. They should vote and vote. So the guy said, you know, they do talks. If you to say they do talk, yeah. So as you know, they do talks, don't get talk now.
I said that's what I'm telling you. Many want it.
I know, okay. So I told him, I said, okay, I'll try me next time.
That's the thing.
Next election that is coming.
The first time election.
I thought election.
The first election that Alex Oti won in Abia, that they turned upside down. See, it's true for your elections.
We can know when
Even won that election. They've declared the result of that side. The next thing, they got the INEC man to change the result after announcing results. And they all trooped to the INEC office in Abia State. Alex didn't go there. Other people went. And then some people at the point that said, the person said, where did they fight for no day? I told them, I said, if I got contact from the vote that they gave to Alex, they would be governor of that. Because all of us will meet in INEC. There's no way we'll all not meet in INEC office.
And that's the problem with
you understand? So no one die. Me, I no one die. Their own self, what if they will lose big pass me?
And there's always a chance to fight another day.
Yeah. When he learned the second one, did he not get his vote?
He got his vote.
You understand?
It was like what I was telling people in the election that they leaking us, that they did a rerun. Immediately they said the PDP agreed to that. I said they lost this election.
Yes.
Because they want it fair and square.
Yeah, they took me 0, they turned votes and votes 0 and 2 votes first. That's how this thing
works. No, that's why Uche Kunife. Yeah? Target. Anyhow, where you want them, they go do it.
Now, so we go. Now, don't tell them now. I tell them someone will try me next time. Any election where anyhow I want them, we go do it.
Yes.
No,
But
because
that's
they
the
came
fact.
with INEC now. They let them announce you as winner.
Sorry,
first.
you go there. I don't go there.
Yes, all my left,
It's muted.
my brother is not a small.
No, it's not fine. But let's just announce you as the winner.
Okay.
Can we fight?
No, we can fight it the way.
You can fight it.
Right.
That's what people.
So you must follow
And the
the
man don't want
right
it to
way.
change.
No, it is that system that is helping them. Now. It is expensive. You can't fund it.
Please, come, it's expensive.
You can't fund it. And by the time you think of the cost, and nobody. In fact, you won't. You can't fund it.
Going to say I go do Labour Party election. The entire leadership. I had only the state chairman, but the organs,
Oh, that was it.
they don't want me
That's so.
because that one no they hear. This one, that one, this one, that one. There was nothing they didn't do for me to step down. I said no. Only election. If they win me,
You like
I
you win,
will
you
sit down. If they don't win me, we'll go.
No, that's not here you win.
So
Now we
we
do that.
I said after
You
that
know, the
election,
same
how many
thing there,
years
you
we
are
did?
talking
This
about
president
political office.
Senate majority leader.
Unions.
Wait,
Yeah.
500,000 naira.
That's what
Yes, he said to me, I've never seen a dogged woman. I pulled down the whole place. I said, this media where they here, I be the media go carry our story. When I was there, Gidigba, we had marathon meeting, I know agree, but I had the chairman. Now them carry delegates. So they called the chairman to a meeting. The chairman just said, one reason why we should not vote for Madam Ebere. They will understand. They don't feel given anything. But then they always get reason. The people now said,
no, they don't have the right to somebody who
we only got to try was
they want to need them.
just
They
they
close. Okay.
enter hall. I got there. One other guy, they didn't know that I brought police. I brought police, so I called a friend of mine, one big politician in the southwest. I said, this is what I'm coming for. And they are threatening me. They said they will kill me. I said, who? Give me police. So if we had 50 police officers, then me alone carry 40. But you get 10. I got police. My sister VIG gave me police. I was surrounded everywhere. So one of the people came to me to say, Mark, I should not sit far from these people that they are planning to use their force, but they don't even know say police where they are now police. So I went to the man, just sat beside him. I just greeted him. I said, sir, see where I'm going to sit. I said, you have told your people to attack me. If they throw anything, that's fine. It doesn't need to touch me. I will come here and I'll break your head. It's a promise. He was like to say, I left him. And I called his people. Say, I told you that this woman, my mad woman, don't go near her. And you would think that we were having this conversation. Because I just went straight to him. I said, sir, you said they should. I said, see, this is where I'm going to sit. If they go to that direction, doesn't need to touch me. Me, I will come here, break your head. Yeah, but I remember this especially what I'm doing. Hello. So unless you show that you also have that mental situation where they get to,
Man, you have to match the madness.
I don't understand. Balance of terror.
balance of terror.
No, there's the way there is a bar. Actually,
They even give back
They say you won that election. In fact, there was no way we were winning that election. We knew it. Somebody said, he said we knew it. So we know what we did. First make sure so you get it. And the guy confessed to me. Meanwhile, now they beg me to make I come back.
because you can carry your.
They don't show where I go in. Say make I come. There is a strategy I'll show. Otherwise, they have pulled those kind of approach with no agent.
Okay, fits. Samuel.
Yeah.
We have to start.
And they have them.
You're coming here. She's not. She's posting.
Yes, she's definitely the host now.
So don't turn it on until we start.
No, we're starting. I'm going to take the mic.
You're going to take the mic.
Yes.
Okay, let me go.
Let me go get them.
Which part of the English of we're coming back to?
Okay, thank you very much.
You know nothing.
I think I will appoint a chief whip that will be in
I
charge.
thought we already had
It's late.
honorable.
It's not,
Excellent.
I think we should just give her more powers.
Empower her.
Yes, with empowered you, you have all the powers now that you need for your office. So thank you very much for convening, having the short visit. I hope we did some networking during the break period.
Yes, we did.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for responding for them. Okay, so if you take a look at our agenda, we had some shifts on our agenda, and so we are now going to be having our second panel. We'll be having our second panel now, and I will introduce the moderator and call her up while she would call up and introduce our panelists. And so to have this panel conversation, the conversation is on feminist movements and approaches to end violence against women and girls. And to moderate this session, I'll be calling on someone that has had great experience actually in feminist movements and organizing. And I think she has been doing this for quite some time. Well, of course, you can do that. I'm not sure, but let's take it as before I was born. So please, I would like you to join me as I make welcome Nkechino Chikani, who will be moderate.
Thank you so much, Faith, for the kind words. Like others, I'm still the aspired Gen Z.
I feel like an friend.
Thank you. Yes, I am the ancestor. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
It's a pleasure to be moderating this session, and we will be looking at feminist movements and approaches to end violence against women and girls. And so we know what it is in terms of organizing as women's group, right? Either as coalitions or as networks or in collectives. What is important is that we are organizing together to be able to address violence against women and girls. We will not be doing the talking. Those who will be talking, I'll call them up. The first person is Dr. Aisata Kuhai. Of course, please make warm welcome for her. Please, the Madam Minister. Please don't take anything. Thank you, ma'am. Our second person is Mr. Mark Manu. Mr. Mark Manu, who are chairman. Please can we clap for them and encourage them to be up here? And then we have a young feminist, Sharon Mokawaya. Please can we take Sharon? And then we have Alfreda Ma. Alfreda Ma from our Liberian feminist. Please can we appreciate Alfreda as well? Okay, I'm giving you just a few seconds to grab your seat. So the way we're going to do this is that we have 1 hour. 1 hour, 5 minutes have already been taken out of that 1 hour. So we will have first level conversation and then the next round of questions. But please remember to focus it and not do more than 5 minutes on the very first round. We will time it. I'm a very strict timer. So I'm going to time this as we go on. So I will start with Sharon. Sharon, my first question to you. Being the coordinator of the Girls Motion movement in Togo, what has been your experience mobilizing young people and other audience to act and advance women and girls' rights in Togo?
Thank you, Ma'am Keji, for this question. Yes.
Go ahead. Yes.
Okay, sorry. Okay. So thank you, Ma'am Keji, for this question. Actually, as a national coordinator of Girls Motion and the chair member of Negres Feministes, first of all, these both movements are feminist movements in Togo working to shape a world where women and girls' rights could be respected and promoted as men's rights. So through my experience, I've seen that mobilizing young people require both creativity and consistency, actually. And we engage youth through digital campaign. Okay. Yeah, we are working online with young people, but we are also working on grassroots. So we are mobilizing them by digital campaign, grassroots dialogues, and safe feminist space building. So their voice can shape the agenda. Their voice can help us to shape the agenda. For instance, one of our projects where we really mobilize young people were Matrimonial 2.0. It was a solution that was built to help human rights defenders to feel safe. So we train them by self-defense, physical self-defense, and online security building to against the cyber security, harassment, you are saying English. So beyond young people, we also mobilize communities, medias, and policy makers actually to build alliance with them so that we could work together to attain the targets. And what best work for us is storytelling and data gathering. Actually, with all the solution we have online is aimed to gather the data, to have the facts and to gather the data that will talk at them as evidence, so that when we will need to advocate for a law or for an act, it will be really efficient because we have data and our software solution online and mobile application have already gathered this data for us and we use it for advocacy. So this approach has allowed us not only to raise awareness, but also inspire action, concrete action actually, and from local initiative to policy dialogues. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You did it Thank you so much. So your strategy, consistency, working consistently with the young people using digital campaigns that are very important to young people and space. And of course, creating safe spaces for them to be able to speak. Thank you so much. So I will go to Mr. Peter. And so, sir, from your long and extensive experience doing mass mobilization, of course, from the political party perspective, what are the entry points for mobilizing for change, especially change issues that are very culturally driven and deep-seated, like violence against women and girls? I know you work within the political sector. You have done a lot of mobilization and getting people to sway people's mind and idea to the work you do. If we then bring it to the context of social development and addressing issues of violence against women, what kind of things should we be looking out for as organizations or actors who are working in this space? What should we take from that to experience? That's that.
Thank you very much. I think that this morning, one of the speakers summed it up all. You know, the theme for this conference is advancing regional action to end violence against women and girls. So if you ask me the starting point, the speaker, Mr. Before, made or gave us the starting point because there is an opportunity that is these ECOWAS reforms. And it's a great opportunity which the WIPA, Women in Political Forces, must lack out and get major reforms regional as the theme for the conference suggests. I said also yesterday myself that within the political party sphere, the party can come up with various conferences and reforms, but once it is not nationalized, like how Sierra Leone has done things, it will stay only within the party and it will not have a national effect. So when it becomes a law, like the Sierra Leonean law, then everybody within the country, within the jurisdiction, is bound to respect and accept and work with that law. In the same way, if it becomes an ECOWAS law and the various parliament within the ECOWAS ratifies them, then it becomes domesticated and it will become part of us. So if this opportunity of reforms is going on in ECOWAS, we must quickly look at it strategically and how we can reach out to them to pick up our case. And the research that Austin eliminated, the research report yesterday, could form the basis for advancing our cause to the ECOWAS authority, which eventually then will translate states ratification and state laws. So that is the mobilization and opportunity that does. But I think nevertheless, at the political party front, we should open up and get more women taking active part in politics in the West African sub-region. Ghana is slow. Within the last 2-3 years, that Sierra Leone passed their law. I mean, they've done tremendously well. And everybody is praising them. Everybody, because it's been a very short time, but they've done quite a lot. I'm so much impressed. So we should open up the space, because as for talking within the political circles, I, as a strong advocate of women participation, and I told you yesterday, I took the agenda to my National Executive Committee, but I was defeated. Okay, the only thing I could sail through was reducing the nomination fees by 50% for women and girls. That I was able to say. But the other key things, like allowing women to contest in our strongholds, they alone, I was not successful. So I mean, and that's why I kept saying at every forum that I've attended that we must escalate it to the national level. And today we have gotten another opportunity to escalate it to the ECOWAS level. I think that is good. We also have what we call patriotic ladies. I've heard the gen for within the party. You know, my party is new patriotic ladies. So patriotic ladies, they're doing tremendously well. So it's also an area that we educate them, we train them in politics, in manifesto, in campaigning skills, door to door, etc. And the women are doing fantastic job. The women and the girls. And we also have our social media army, and the women are on us then, because we also take them to what to say and what not to say on social media. So that's also out of that area. And to bring sanity and unity in the country, the two major political parties, our social media army and the NBC social media army, they competed on a football competition just to bring them together. We should not be seeing ourselves as enemies. So that was a big one. And you won the trophy. So they presented the trophy to me, and I was very happy about that, especially when the women went to watch match, also came along with them. So it's a way that we want to bring the games man's well, so that every activity, we want the women and particularly the girls to get involved. That's also the starting point of bringing the young girls into active politics.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Please can we appreciate him? Yeah, we thank him. So just to bit of recap in terms of the entry point, and I think this is something that all of us need to begin to either work at a country level as well as engage collectively as a group. The fact that the ECOWAS reform presents a good opportunity for us, looking at all the opportunities that sit in within that space. Again, is the issues of legislations and policies that already existed and are created at country level and at regional level that we can tap into, and then using evidence. When the Politics Forum has been able to conduct a regional research, I am sure there are other researches that can happen and there are gaps. Maybe what also Austin did not tell us, or time did not allow, is to show opportunities for other researches that can be done within that that have been found. So it presents opportunity for us to use that as evidence in engaging. And you talked so extensively about opening up space for women's participation. And I like the power of your framing when you use words like social media army. And then you talked about the patriotic women, ladies. I mean, these are sexy words, and framing is very important in the work that we do. So the power of that framing is what we need to take. So thank you so much, Mr. Peter, our chairman, for giving us those funds. I hope people are taking notes. I will now go to Dr. Isata. Riding on what Mr. Peter has also said in terms of removing problems or issues as collective. My first point is the question around fragmentation. You know, because we are talking about feminist movements and the approaches we need to be able to achieve or prevent violence against women and girls. One of the critical things that bring down movements is issue of fragmentation, right? Where women's groups or movements work in silos, and everybody wants to see that it is only them or through their own organization that result has been achieved, rather than seeing it from a collective perspective. The second part to this fragmentation is also driven for the quest for attribution, as well as the demand for compliance to donors and supporters, especially for feminist groups that are working in, are being funded by certain donors, so they keep compliance. How do we remove these barriers to achieve true transformation when it comes to feminist movement and addressing or preventing violence against women and girls? Dr. Isata, I know Sierra Leone has the NGO collection of the NGO group, right? So can you share your experience and what ways we can use to address these barriers? Thank you. I'd like to say thank you very much and good afternoon to you all. I think this question, yesterday we had, I told you about the radio discussion or television discussion we had yesterday. And these issues came up. For me, I believe that if we want to move forward as women, we should forget about fragmentation. We should fight we should fight a collective cause. And fighting that collective cause is devoid of political party nation. The women should mount a voice, and that voice and agency is what will help us in terms of ending violence against women. For us in Sierra Leone, I spoke briefly also about the network of women ministers and parliamentarians. So this could be one of the recommendations that you set up a structure, and that structure is bringing together women from different political parties to look at cross-party initiatives to support each other. Because we have learned that it is difficult for women to penetrate in fields where men are already taken charge. And because you want to break that particular cycle, you want to see that women are making headways in politics, you have to form a group, and it has to be formidable. Because being fragmented creates a lot of problems. So an example is this. There's an election and you have 3 candidates contesting for one position from different, the same camp, but you cannot see eye to eye. You 3 want to contest against another member of another camp. So how would you make waves? So it is very clear. So for us in Sierra Leone, I think the network of women ministers and parliamentarians and the network of female councillors is something that we need to look into, because we do not only care for women that are within our political party. For instance, me being the Minister of Gender, bringing together other women from other political parties, it means that we want us to form an alliance, like a movement. And it is a movement that we should look at in Africa. How do we do this? Another aspect could be looking at a regional, sub-regional, sub-regional alliances. Guinea, Liberia, Sierra Leone, Cote d'Ivoire. We can see strong women's groups in these particular countries. For instance, if there are elections, women should be able to rally from Sierra Leone supporting Guinea, Liberia supporting the women in Guinea, and Cote d'Ivoire supporting the women in Guinea to say, we want women to succeed. So how do we do this? Create initiatives that will bring these movements together to say, this time we want a woman as the president in this particular country, as the vice president. How do we rally around? How do we support initiatives that women in Guinea are already working or we need to strengthen those particular? So for me, for Africa to be able to see the need for having women leaders, strong leaders, there has to be an alliance. So fragmentation does not solve that problem. And I feel that if we come together, even within our political parties, to say an issue that is happening to a particular woman in another political party should be the concern for all of us, not because she belongs to another political party. She does not belong to my political party. I should see her as, oh, let her be there. Let her suffer the consequences. After all, we are not in the same political party. It should not be like this, because women should be able to support women. Women should be there when issues of women are of concern. So forget about political party affiliation. The way we're seeing things now, women in these political parties are always taking the lead and they want to get the space. So covering up this space don't help to create a divide in us, or we also succumb to the pressure that we are facing. So with that particular pressure, if we say we are divided, we'll not be able to fight back. And once we are not able to fight back, we'll not be able to create the change. I've forgotten the second part. I got carried away.
Yeah, no, you are right on point in terms of, so in using that, bringing it down to addressing violence against women and girls.
Exactly.
So yeah.
So this is it. So for me, I think for anything, even elections or violence against women, whatever issue women are championing, there has to be a formidable force. And for me, this is how I see it, and this is how we'll be able to move forward as African women. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, let's put our hands together to stay passionate. For me particularly, building feminist movements, strong feminist movements is very important and critical. And like Ene had said, that was part of a design we had in a project, because we realized that women's group keep fighting against themselves. They have limited resources. Then when you bring together the resources you have, imagine me organizing a meeting and say, oh, it must be my own organization because I want to start my name on that event. But when you bring resources together collectively, able to achieve much more. So thank you, Madam Minister, for the intention giving us that the solution is fight a collective cause, and is very, very important. That is devoid of any kind of affiliation or position. It must be seen it as a goal that is about women's issues, is about us as a collective, and setting up structures, very, very important. To have, I like the way you frame and your use of words. You said a formidable voice. Thank you so much. And then, of course, in terms of having some functional alliances. Yes. Brilliant. Thank you so much. So, my sister and friend, so I'm coming to you. Can you share from Liberia's experience
some level of successes that we have seen within the context of feminist movement. What strategies are you using in Liberia that we can emulate and scale up? I was in Liberia for a couple of months, and I saw firsthand how the feminist group were very strong in that country in terms of voice, in terms of vision for ideologies, and I like that. So I want to say, what were you guys doing, and how did you do it, and what kind of results did we achieve that we can learn from either Nigeria or from Togo or from any other Ghana or other countries? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. I have quotes, so please bear with me. I mean, the land, sea, and water travel is my first time, so I got 4 points. Yeah, sure, come on, but easy. So, the Liberia context is very dynamic. So for us back home, we have a national network of civil society women. We call it the Women NGO Secretariat. That is made of all NGOs that are working, female-led NGOs. And we had a lot of successes working as feminist movement and working in partnership with other people. I'll give you 2 examples. So in 2020, when the rape got high on the increase in Liberia, and every day was rape here, rape there, rape the other, high on the increase in Liberia. And every day was rape here, rape there, rape the other side. And so the women said enough was enough. So they gathered forces. They had a war room. A war room. Wow. The feminist movement had a war room. And they were strategic people that were they gathered together. One thing we had was data. We had people who were doing research on where the cases were to increase. They had people who were giving information on perpetrators and how also involving the police, the compromising of cases. We had people in the parliament that had that were using their connections to really engage with female parliamentarians that were there. And so collectively we came together and said, okay, now we've done all the engagements. We're engaging the police, we're engaging the female parliamentarian, we're just engaging the president, and said, what can we do? So collectively we said, okay, let's have a one day march. It was a 3 days march. Every day we were out. So we had even the men involved. We didn't leave the men out because the men too, even though they are perpetrators, but they also are partners in this. So we didn't see them as just perpetrators, we saw them as partners. And so we engaged the men involved. And it came up for those 3 days that we protested. We were on the streets. There were no cars moving. We were there making sure that government, we want you to take these actions. Secondly, we came up with policy statement. It's really key to say, okay, you can make the noise and everything, but you need to have an action point and say, this is what we want you to do. And these are the steps we want you to take as government. And so we did a policy statement, we read it out, and we gave it to government and said, these are the actions. And since 2021, the feminist movement, we are unprotected networks have always been engaged in doing annual statistics and say these are where this is where we are right now. These are the actions we said you will take. Where are we on them? Just accountability was key in ensuring that we're able to hold government accountable and say these are the actions we said you will take. It's the commitments you made. Where are we on them? Another key success was in politics. So we had this fish seller who was running for senators. And because of the male dominance, she won the elections, and they were trying to do the political maneuvering on a cover to take a win. And the women said, no, you have to engage. And so the women were assist again. We had a different strategies, the rules engaging, and they did not know how, because they had used the traditional people to jump into the village. They did not know how the lady left from the county to come to town. They just saw her to town because their plan was they were going to kidnap her, and then she gets missing, and then they take the position for her. But the women came together as in solidarity and said, let's do this. They were strategic, they used both air and sea and water to get all the camp and all of it, and they would make sure that they were protecting the ballot boxes. The women themselves were serving as pool washers, making sure that first seller, even though she did not have the money to grab the election commission, for people voted for her. And so ensuring that her votes were counted and was documented. We serve as pool washers in the villages. We're championing and making sure that women they say this is our own, and ensuring that she was protected. And at the end of the day, we knew that we had data because again, as I said, evidence it was very key for us. So we had the evidence for all the poor. So it was really to look up and really temper with the vote. What they had was to kidnap her, but they keep very late because before they knew she was out of the county, she was in a hotel and we were paying for. So even they were people were paying money, making sure that she was safe and that her cameras were protected. And so it just brings me back to ensuring that whatever you do, make sure you have the backing and do not leave out any sector of stakeholders, whether they are the younger generation, the Gen Zs or the youth. All of those will play major roles in ensuring that the women movement in Nigeria is a success. And we recently we were advocating for the domestic violence bill. That bill has been that it was passed a little bit with some small issues there, but we're still trying to see how that bill can be ratified and be implemented because our issue in Nigeria, we have signed all of these laws, we have domesticated all of these laws, but implementation becomes an issue. So we engage in, but we're not leaving out the issue of accountability and showing that we are able to remind governments this is what you're saying, this is usually the actions. What are you doing to ensure that you're doing that?
Brilliant. Can we appreciate Sarah? Appreciate that. So, the point I'm noting from what you said in terms of success is female-led, focusing on female-led organization. And I think also that's one of the parts of what the BBL project is doing in Nigeria, recognizing that women need resources that they should be able to intervene and carry out their actions. And so focusing on them is very important and critical. You also talked about establishing a ballroom. Again, I'm a student of language and framing. So the fact you said that ballroom, it's immediately created an image in my head about knowing that this is serious business and we need to act on it. And giving it that frame, that name, also helps others to know that you are serious in what you are doing. I like the fact that evidence keeps coming out. If you want to do anything, data is important. You must demonstrate, you must show it, right? And I like that because we are engaging people who are intellectuals and who need evidence to be convinced, right? We also using that numbers to be able to show them that this is happening and you need to act fast. I like the fact that you mentioned the engagement of different actors. No stakeholder should be left behind. And the fact that you targeted both perpetrators and also male allies to be able to create the change you want to achieve. And then the issue of policy statements as an accountability tool to achieve the change you want. And finally, you talked about standing in solidarity, the sisterhood. That's the way we say it, the sisterhood, the togetherness. Standing there is very critical. Thank you so much for the insights that you have all brought from different perspectives. My final question to each of you, before we invite the audience, is to please tell us, as we are convening here as a region, as a block, I know it's going to be difficult right? To say that one strategy is the best. So there is no one strategy that is best, but I'm going to put it to you to solve my problem. So if you are to organize as a region, what is that one strategy that we should not drop? You get what I mean? So if we are working together, if we're going to achieve what we want in terms of prevention of violence against women and girls, what one strategy? You all have spoken to strategies. What is that one that you think from your own experience in organizing in your country stands out for you? Dr. Sia, you want to nail it down? I Saturn. Yes. So, hello. Yes. Okay. So, for me, I still believe in cross-border initiatives. Cross-border initiative. Yes. For us to look at how much effort we put into this, because we all know that one country cannot get it all, as you rightly say. But once we develop cross-border initiatives that support ending violence against women, it will trigger a whole lot of campaign within the African region. So, for instance, now you have on the Nigerian side, there's Cameroon and others. So they form alliance, and you look at within the borders. How do we protect our women within those borders? How do we strengthen economic initiatives within those borders? So when they are involved in those, because all of this we're talking, if we do not bring in economy in the independence for women, it will be something that will not yield better fruits, because women have to be economically independent, and they will take action in their own hands. So you see, you look at cross-border initiatives that will promote trade, that will promote integration, and with this, you form the networks within those cross-border initiatives as well. So that, for instance, there's elections in Cote d'Ivoire coming. How do surrounding countries in Cote d'Ivoire support or protect women from electoral violence, from other aspects that will reduce the population of women in leadership position? How do we form those alliances? We can also look at the Mano River Union. We can look at all the sub-regions. For me, these are the initiatives that will work until and unless we come as one in Africa. Maybe starting with the ECOWAS region, it will never help us. So in fact, like I said, I think it's some discussion that I'll have to have with you later on, or maybe tomorrow, because I have already developed a concept of looking at having a network of women ministers in Africa. Okay? This will promote the leadership position. A network of women ministers in Africa. In Africa. So, but I discussed with the ECOWAS president, and he said, let us start with the West African region. So, with this, it will help us to have a more consolidated approach. And he also said, yes, we can maybe start small with the gender ministers or women ministers, because you need to have an alliance that will seek your interests. You may have a woman who is a defense minister, but does not seek total interest of women. I don't know if we'll get in the catch. We do not prioritize issues of children. We do not prioritize issues of health for women. So he was suggesting that we start small with the gender or women ministers or children's ministers, then it will broaden the scope. So this was his advice. But this is something we actually need to look into. How do we form this? How do we get it? We need to look at it and then try to list. So yesterday I told Vera that I was going to discuss this with you to see how we can start. If it is up to me, maybe we'll say we start this year or early next year to see how we make Africa a woman face instead of having the male feminists. Thank you. Thank you so much. Such powerful. cross-border initiative. And I like the, as she threw in, the livelihood component, economic independence. Brilliant. Sharon,
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
what strategy?
What strategy? I'm really aligned with what Her Excellency the Minister had said, because the thing I want to highlight will be alliance too. Because I'll give two examples to illustrate what I'm trying to say. The first one is we have to lead a research in Togo one time with Benin feminists and Ghanaian feminists with Africa Borderland Center. I don't know if you know them. Africa Borderland Center is UNDP organization that's working for uh, um, border, I mean, countries border issues. So we work with them to make a research on how women that are doing trades, they are acting in those countries. So when we start in Togo first time, but it didn't give what we wanted. And when we have alliance with Benin feminists and Ghanaian feminists, we get the thing. We have petitions signed with all these women. We have people mobilized, and we have done our research. We have published it and so on. And this was the real first I see through the alliance we can have. I mean, in this sub-region. That's the first thing. The second thing is, the second example would be in parallel with my feminist life, I actually serve as project analyst in the Ministry of Digital Economy and Transformation in Togo. And last week in one of our groups, someone shared an information where in the Ministry of Gender of our country, is there a man that's raped, that tried to rape an intern? He's working in gender ministry, and he tried to rape a girl. He's not tried, he raped actually a girl. And this, I mean, everyone is really angry and so on. And we thought as it would be, this would be, office issue, they will solve it and so on. But the ministry here actually, she actually worked on the issue, and everyone is really amazed with how she managed the thing actually. And actually the affairs at the court, they are working on it actually, and everyone is really wow, because yes, last year we have something else in defense ministry, but the affair just go on, it's obvious we will do it and it will okay. But now it was really different, and we really appreciate how she acts. And that's how I joined the second point of the minister, saying that if all the women ministers of Africa join together and understand the real target that the feminism want to get, and work together and prioritize women issues and child issues together, we will really have a safe place here in Africa for women, I think. So I think alliance is really the thing I want to highlight. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Alliance. Wow. Today, yes, Mr. Peter.
Thank you very much. I think one size fits all cannot work.
Absolutely.
But we live in a ECOWAS, and many things are very similar. Our food, our culture, our behaviors. So there are a lot of things that we can learn from each other. The women who lead must be bold and courageous. It's very important. If you are timid, the men are going to run over you. But you cannot be bold and courageous if you don't have the information. So, like, and they said, you must read and gather information. Because if you are armed with the necessary information, then you can convince people to join you. Then, within our sub-region, particularly Nigeria, the use of creative drama and theaters cannot be underestimated. People watch movies on their phones in the form of social media, WhatsApp, etc. So simple, short, educating videos from our creative sector on violence against women and girls will also cut across the entire region because people watch Nigerian movies wherever they are. That's why it cuts across the entire sub-region, irrespective of the land. So these are another area which I think we should collaborate with our friends in the theater industry, the creatives, to be able to come up with something on women's rights and action to end violence against women and girls. The role of traditional authorities also transcend throughout the ECOWAS. We have chiefs everywhere. We have also the faith-based organizations, the churches, the mosques. How do we bring them on board in our quest to end violence against women and girls? Because many of the violence that takes place within the administration, they are the very people, as we found out from yesterday's presentation, who will go and ask the offenders stop any court action. So we need to educate them through various means, whether through the theatrics or through the creatives or dramas or video, to enable them come up with, to understand that what is bad is bad, whether they like it or not. So they must encourage us to let them know that if we are able to do that, women and girls and violence against them in West Africa, though it's not going to be one size fits all, but each society will take off a leaf that will assist it in our fight against violence against women and girls.
Thank you so much, Mr. Peter. Thank you. Let me talk for me. I like the fact that you narrowed it, you zeroed in on the individual, on the person, right? And especially also taking it to the grassroots level. Because most times we tend to also forget that where the real change lies or should also begin, and also prevention should be at the community level. And where is the traditional and moral leaders and the institutions? This is where they sit, and those changes, they have the power to make those changes. Thank you so much. So we come to my sister and friend, the final point. One strategy. If you have more than one, God has get two, so you can do more.
It's okay. I mean, everyone has said a lot of strategies for occasions, but I've been somebody who worked with community leaders and traditional leaders, and it's very important to know what is it that speaks to their questions. And so once you are able to do your own analysis and know now, okay, what is it that is the heartbeat of that person? If you're able to use that, as Mem said, she was able to use her fun dress and her sexy body to be able to guess what she wants. She didn't explore herself, but she used her position and everything to get what she wants. And so you are able, you need to speak to the conscience of leaders. So it comes back to us to me saying that we need to leverage our strength as regional women-led organizations. Once we know we are, for example, Solo has a very good case of movement building. Liberia also has. So how can we come together now to leverage those strengths and the opportunities that we have to build up and empower other countries that are lacking? Once we're able to leverage the strengths, okay, you have the voice to write speeches. Okay, you have the movement, you have the voice or the leverage at ECOWAS or AU. let's come together. Nigeria bring her, for example, AU connection. Sarah bring her movement building skills in GHU parliament. Every one of us, Nigeria bring us. And then we say, okay, collectively, let's use our opportunities here, our training to empower all of them, like all of women who are in other countries. I think it will really go a long way to ensuring that we are able to build a stronger movement. And at the result, let's not take the glory as freedom. And let's not take the glory as one country. Because it will that's the thing that brings that movement. Because once people feel that I was the spokesperson, and so I should be giving the voice. No, it's not about you. It's a collective. Ensure that everyone takes the glory at the end of the day. Have few suggestions that you can use to ensure that we whoa.
Brother, thank you so much. I like the perspective you just dropped in terms of not merchandising on the work of women's advancing women's rights. Because sometimes in the quest to take credit and glory and attribution, which is what the question I asked Madam Minister before, it takes the flavor of this work. We need each other, and no one person can solve this problem, and no one country can say within the sub-region we are the best. Thank you so much for bringing that perspective. We are just about 8 minutes to wrap up. I told you I'm a time conscious person. I'll give anyone 1 minute if you have a question or you have a follow-up. So to do the way we're going to do that, please raise your hand. I will count the numbers. After that, no more. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes. We have 8 minutes to wrap up. Okay, so I start with you. Okay,
Bella shall be the first.
Let's ask that you have my phone. Okay.
Thank you. So my question is to Dr. Isata. You talked about having a collective force that's devoid of political affiliation. And I wanted to find out that how are women politicians able to speak for another woman on another political line? Especially when you know that they have to have allegiance to either maybe their political goals parties. Yeah, I'm citing an example. So we just had a bi-electoral election in Ghana, and there was electoral violence meted up against one woman candidate. And then the woman candidate from the other end was like, this one deserved it because she also did it to me. Now, the problem the women's coalition had was we're expecting a woman to speak because electoral violence against the woman is one against the woman. But because she felt she belonged to this political party, she couldn't speak for the woman of the other political party. So my question is, as sometimes as women, you go allegiance to your political party. How are you able to speak for a woman on the other side without you countering your own political party?
Thank you. Next person, please just take the mic.
Thank you very much. Yesterday when the report of the research was going on, because I'm a community woman, sure they call me Mama Community, is the fact that I realized that you have just mentioned it, that the community people, the people at that level, they are not in others. They are where we are going to start thinking of behavioral change. They are the people who don't understand the law. So without the policy, without them knowing the law, there is no way they are going to participate. It's also going to leave them believing what the politicians who have specialized in telling stories, they will believe them. So how? I'm just wondering, how can we change the narrative? Can we learn from the Sierra Leone? How can we change the narrative of engaging community people in terms of policy reforms? Because that is the answer.
Okay. Next, please let's give him.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know you were.
Yes. For me, women's empowerment will be achievable if we keep politics out of it, if we keep cultural background, regionalism, ethnicity, or whatever. In Sierra Leone, many people are applauding us for gender equality because of the bill and the processes that are entailing it. I want to thank Madam Nasu Fufana. She has been a strong fighter of this. Today might be the first time we come apart, but I've really been admiring her. Also, I'm citing her recent campaign. Please give me one, extend my time. The fact that she is craving for more women.
No, it's 1 minute. Please, 1 minute.
For the mere fact that she's craving for more women to be in politics, for them to have the space, for them to have the chance, for them to have the position in our country. We are in the first lady of this country who has been fighting for women. She's the government assumed office. She's been bullied at, she's been trampled upon by our own political party. And of course, we wanted the entire women whom she has fought for right across the country to gang up and fight in solidarity with her. But trust me, she has been, in a very dangerous way, she has been neglected by many women who she stood for. So tell me now, if she has the capacity again to lead, will she fight for women?
She should.
Yes. She should, but she has been trampled upon. She has been neglected by the same women she fought for. Madam Ebe was explaining to about a woman in governance. This is it. The pain women are getting is because of the dedicated energy that has been levied upon them.
Violence against
Thank you very much. I will tell the young man that I've been trampled upon several times. I get up and I keep moving. Yes. My question is to our chairman. You talked about the social media competition, which the different teams have. Were there women on the teams? Because what we're looking at is whether women are involved in the vital environment. Because I look at Sharon, someone like Sharon should have been in those teams if she were in my country. Because when they are missing from the social media campaigns of the political parties, we always find the women leaders and all of those things. But these are critical environments, the Gen Zs, many of them are technologically advanced. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. My first question is to Sharon. You mentioned that in Togo, human rights activists or feminists are being trained on capacity building and defense. So I want to know, how did you go about it? How did you get to that point for you as activists to get such opportunity to train as a guide to yourself? And this other one is going to our honorable minister. You when talking about the fragmentation, in ending, you talk about collective action and cross-border relation. So my concern here is about the women in rural communities, our mothers in the marginalized communities who do not have the opportunities to sit where we are or to stand to discuss issues like this. So how do you think those women can be included in making sure that our actions are being results-oriented, and it should be reflective of every woman right across the country or right across Africa as we are fighting to. So Chair, also you can add to that this question at ECOWAS level. I want to hear from you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm timing myself 1 minute. Yes. The patriotic ladies, we have a similar one in country. The Julius Maada babes. Okay? And we want to know what is the impact of that group on the women's wings within the political parties. How do they work or how do they not work? The second one is really for Madam Minister. I think the women ministers, it's a maybe suggestion not to just include the ministers that are currently in place. Because tomorrow morning, it will displease His Excellency to do otherwise. And all your efforts. Absolutely. So I think it should include former ministers. Yes. And finally, fragmentation, working across political party lines, I believe is the way we should go. Because men are the key gatekeepers of political parties, and it works in their interest for us to be fragmented. Right, yeah. So we should kick against that and not hold on to the old adage that I am in this party, I should only support. We work together. You and the gender advisor are in a different political party. But because we've been working together, we've made powerful interventions that have stopped very powerful people in this country not to be able to break things. So it's the way we should go. 1 minute, yes.
I did.
Okay, mine is like a follow-up to what she said.
Thank you.
Still on the coalition of gender ministers and all. I think there is need to also build on what is existing because I know in the course of my job, I've encountered groups like that. So I actually did a Google search and I know I found or confirmed that there's AU ministers responsible for gender and women affairs, which is in existence. And also there's also the Southern Africa Development Committee of ministers responsible for gender and women affairs and ECOWAS. So it's good instead of building yes and splitting energy. It's good to build on what is existing. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you so much, everyone. You want to speak?
Yes.
Okay, I will give you. So, but I need to negotiate. Sorry, I need to negotiate. I need to have additional 5 minutes so that they can respond back. Thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon to you all. I'm Sifoy Madi. Like for yesterday and today, like you have been talking about women. Like I have this ego in me when you say women and you don't mention the part of women with disability.
Absolutely.
Like you're talking in terms of empowerment. What about the women with disability? We have limited women with disability with education. Their lack of education. Because we have a lot of barriers in our countries, like we don't have accessibility. So even some of my colleagues drop out of school because of lack of accessibility, though we are doing advocacy. So if we are talking it for women, let's consider women with disability because we are going through a lot in terms of violence. And even how can I partake in terms of politics? Because if other able women are going through a lot, so I think, what about me? I have the challenge. How can I access those buildings? How can I move? Can other women, able women, support me? And even in terms of finance and all, we don't have finance and all that. So that limits people with disability in a lot. Not that we don't want to take part, not that we don't want to push issues. We want to do, but we need some empowerment, we need some mentorship, and also with that, I want us to focus on the area of persons with disability.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for always speaking. And also for the young people, they have also called us out on this. Thank you so much for this. So, my panelists, you have just one minute. I'm not expecting you to answer all the questions, right? We can also have opportunity to do a bilateral conversation with them. So thank you.
Yeah, but I think some questions are directed at most of them. So to start with the first one, myself from Ghana. I think you ask about how do we do alliances or networks devoid of political party affiliation. I think when this is attacked, they don't choose whether you are a woman from the Fulani tribe or a woman from the Malingo tribe. When something happens to women, it's a woman. Just get that mindset. And when one woman suffers from something, it is a woman that's suffering and it affects women. So whatever the discourse may be, anything that has to do with women's emancipation or women's empowerment to be a collective thing that we all should do. So we don't choose. For instance, if there is war or there is conflict in Sierra Leone during some demonstrations, and women are in the marketplace, it does not choose whether it's a woman from the APC party or a woman from the SLP party. It goes attack women because they're mostly in the market. And then you know that women from every political party have suffered from this particular conflict. So you think women, and whatever discourse it is, this is a mindset that we need to get. So it requires a mindset shift because we need to remove ourselves from being political and think about the issues at hand. It's issue-based. So also, somebody talked about how do we engage community, the local people. And I think this is why it is intentional for governments to allow the space for civil society organization
local community-based organizations and also community structures. So even at the traditional level, there are community structures. So reaching to more local level women, you have to go through all of these structures. If at the national level, we have the elitist approach, we expect that, and this is why civil society is working to complement the efforts, or even development partners or other agencies, they support civil society, they support local agencies to